Yeah.
As Seals bowls to Smith, and he's stroking that one away through mid-wicket. Will get his first boundary, second boundary, sorry, in Test match cricket. Just over-pitched on the pads, and he looks very strong in that area. Almost a natural stroke to that over-pitched delivery wide of the short mid-wicket for 4 at 283 for 5.
Yeah, he's sort of got that grip, and he sets himself up to be able to just get into that position so early. If it's just erring leg side or slipping down leg side, which is a very natural shot.
As Seals from that same country, Trinidad and Tobago, bowls, and it's beautifully played. That's textbook stuff. We're seeing some of the best now of Jamie Smith, just slightly over-pitched and didn't have to do much, but almost extend the forward stroke, just pushing it gently through the offside. Perfect timing for a boundary at 287 for 5.
Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. I mean, it was pitched up, that's for sure, but got himself in a great position, really hit that hard with quite a lot of ease, sort of like effortless power, but quite a defensive field. Like to see that short leg in though, because it isn't particularly turning, so just looking for the inside edge onto the pad.
Bowl him! Beautiful delivery going right through the gate. Once again, Moti has struck for the West Indies, getting Joe Root, who won't get towards 70 or won't get towards lunch. He'll have an early lunch, but won't be particularly happy with it. The arm ball from Gudakesh Moti, or whether or not just went straight through. In any event, it's gotten the better of the former England captain, knocking back the off stump. He goes for 68. England have lost their third wicket this morning, a second for the left-arm spinner Gudakesh Moti at 287 for 6.
Oh, what a delivery! Absolute crackerjack. Quick arm, fizzed off the pitch, and it's almost done Joe Root for a bit of pace, a bit of spin. Joe Root, fabulous player, a spin bowler. We could hardly believe it. He looked well set there, just looking to kind of negotiate his way to lunch. He'll be disappointed with that, but there is a bit of spin there, as you say. Stokes got one that turned out of the rough, and that one was off the posh bit, off the bit that hasn't got any footmarks off it, but that one just bit.
As Moti bowls and walks, strokes this one away, finding the gap, will get a couple of runs, may get 4. Shamar Joseph is giving chase, will beat him to that short side, and that's a good way to start. Beautifully played, timed, slightly over-pitched, but you still have to put it away.
Absolutely, what a way to get off the mark for Chris Woakes. Really beautiful bit of timing, slightly over-pitched, but you wouldn't mind bowling that first ball to a new batter, but put away with aplomb.
Gudakesh Moti from the nursery end to Smith, who turns a full ball past bat pad out to deep mid-wicket. It deserved to get the treatment, but he played it delicately. Smith, that was really a freebie. 304 for 6 then, and that lead to 183.
Yeah, full toss on the pads at this level, at county level, even at club level, more often than not, it'll be put away. But again, the balance he shows while putting that away. Head nicely leaned into it, all along the ground.
Holder bowls down the track. He is driving through the offside. Smith will get a couple of runs here. Might just get to the boundary. In fact, it does. One of the shorter boundaries towards the Tavern area here at Lords, and picks up 4 more. He's into the 40s now in his first Test match innings on 41.
Yeah, that was good foot movement. He came out of his crease and he just didn't try and overhit it. Just kept his shape.
As Seals bowls down the leg side, and that's turned away, and in fact he's caught. It was in the air all the way down towards deep square leg. The catch taken by the debutant, and Mikhail Louis takes the catch. So he departs, and another wicket for the West Indies, this time with the second new ball, Chris Woakes. He goes for 23. And England have just lost their 7th wicket at 339.
Well, I can't believe it, Chris Woakes. It's a leg stump ball. He just rolls his wrist, comes right at the middle of the bat, and he goes straight to the fielder, right on the boundary edge. The camera's just panned into Ben Stokes on the balcony. He can't believe it either. He played nicely, Chris Woakes. And you think he hasn't really played much longer format cricket. Hasn't played a great deal of cricket, just one game for Warwickshire this year. He was the player of the series in the Ashes last year. Wonderful Test match cricketer, and he played nicely there. He looked in good order.
3 slips and a gully here now for Atkinson. His first ball, Holder's in, he's bowling full, he's edged and he's caught behind. Well, it's a day out with the ball, with the bat. He's got a golden duck on his Test debut. He's not in the side for his batting, but isn't cricket a funny game?
Isn't it?
Jason Holder strikes with that new ball, and Atkinson on his way. So England now 8 down.
Well,
Even catch full stretch, wasn't it, for De Silva behind the stumps?
yeah, great delivery by Holder. That new ball, just that little bit of extra pace off the pitch and swing and foolish delivery, just sort of dangled the bat out there, didn't he? A bit wide of the body. But, yeah, he'll be disappointed, golden duck. But just think of your 7 for as you're walking
Exactly.
up the steps.
And the sign writer was already in the dressing room, he said, when he came off the field last
Lovely,
night. Which was really
lovely,
exciting to see,
yeah.
isn't it? The lead, 221 then. 2 wickets in hand for England. 342 for 8.
You can't have everything. You can't have everything.
The cricket gods always have a way of
They do.
turning themselves round on you.
Do.
Here is Seals into Smith, who's on 49, shapes again for a pull. He has got hold of this one, out towards deep square leg, finds the fielder, takes the single though, which gives him a maiden Test century on debut. And listen to this Lord's reception. Quite a muted raise of the bat for Jamie Smith. But 23-year-old, turning 24 tomorrow, happy early birthday. You've got a 50 at Lord's on debut.
Yeah, played nicely. Hasn't looked overawed about it, and I like the celebration as well. Just a little up to the balcony there, where the boys are giving him a nice round of applause. Cheers, lads. And sort of did the ground with the bat, and then let's crack on.
Back to business.
Back to business. I like that.
Tough as did you see Brian Lara in earlier today?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's just made you jump with a...
Oh no, oh no! I saw Brian. Yes.
Well, plenty of Brian, didn't
He
you? in
always
Antigua?
smiles at me. I think it's in appreciation for serving it up to him at Antigua.
375.
Yes.
Bettered by Matt Hayden, then bettered by Lara again when he
Yeah.
made 400. A decade later, wasn't it? 1994 to then 2004.
Yeah, I was in the crowd when I saw the 400.
Oh, were
actually.
you?
Yes. So
You were the tour group.
yes, I did. Was he out on the 400? Was he not out on the 375?
Go on,
No,
Tom.
he was out.
Out on the 4. No, sorry, not
375.
not out on
Okay.
400.
Oh right, okay. So I've seen Brian bat twice at Antigua, and he scored 775.
Now here's a big hit into the leg side.
Wow.
He's hit it for 6.
Oh blimey!
The field came in towards the end of the over, and Smith's taken it on. I mean, this is what it's all about. When you're batting with the tail, again, this is something that
Yeah.
would have been considered about his selection and the way that he bats.
Yes.
When you're batting with Basher and the lower order, can you do this when the field is brought in? He moved like a man who couldn't hang around, if you understand what I mean. He's
Oh.
off the field again now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
And he's the opening batsman.
Dodgy
Well, I don't know. He just
prawn.
it's like a look of anxiousness about
Yeah.
it, anxiety.
Dodgy oyster. Oh, you don't want a dodgy oyster. Oh, I've had a dodgy oyster. Blimey. Couldn't move for a week.
No, mine was a foolish one because I had it in Johannesburg.
Johannesburg oyster.
Yeah.
Are they with them?
Really silly. It was the end of the World Cup. We've been away a long time.
Yeah.
And at about 5,000 feet above sea level, someone produced these oysters.
Oh.
Wow. 3 days I was in bed.
Yeah, no, there you go. Well, I hope he's all right, because they're going to need him second dig. He's back.
Is he back on
I
again?
don't know, someone's run on him. Someone else is going off, actually. No, someone else has gone off. Who's gone off there?
I think it's Shamar Joseph going back off, having just come back on. Goal for 1 over.
It's getting a bit difficult to keep a handle on all of this. It's, Azari Joseph, the vice-captain, is definitely in charge out there at the moment.
Johannesburg oyster. Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the most stupid things.
Yeah.
And not least also because the restaurant I was in was called the Butcher's Shop.
Oh, what are you doing? You haven't given it a lot of thought, John.
Give it none. Emma was furious. 3:59 for 8. It's Seals bowling. A big hit into the leg side. Away it goes. Into the tavern stand and possibly beyond. Well, he's picked that up. And Seals is standing there with his hands on his hips, but that's not going to help very much. And that's exactly what Smith's after. And I said he's just showing here what he can do when he's batting with the tail. all part of that number 7's role, or certainly increasingly these days. Fielders scattered all over the place. Seals comes in and bowls to him. He's got for another big hit. He's skied it into the offside. It's going to land safely. Yes, it does. Louis can't get there. He aims a tremendous... Oh, what a throw! What a throw! Mykhail Louis is wound up there from 40 yards away, maybe even more, and he's gone off there. He's hugging somebody out there, maybe his brother, who's not playing, but he's one of the backup support players, and he ran all the way out there and gave him a hug. He's plucked out one stump from 40 yards and has run out poor old Basher, who should have been the other end, really. But it's a terrific throw.
He took his time, didn't he? He knew he had time to do it, so he really set himself.
It's a wonderful celebration. I mean, it's Caribbean Calypso time there, and he's gone rushing off. He must have seen his brother. He's pointing at him. He gets high fives from everybody within range, and he's still pointing at his brother, and ran off and gave him a hug.
He ran like Ollie Watkins yesterday, didn't he? Running off when he scored. Anyway, what
Here's Jimmy. Let's listen to this. What a reception. West Indians applauding. Some handshakes there as well as he walks out to bat. There have been many fine batsmen walk out here at Lord's who have not received an ovation like that. But for Jimmy Anderson, and I'm looking at his dad now, standing there and joining the applause too, who's with us at lunchtime, he's got a standing ovation from 30,000 people. It's not in anticipation of his batting, I dare venture to say. Just a thank you and a well done for all the service that you've given. The Seals comes in, bowls down the leg side. He's hit it high, and he's hit it hard, and he's hit it out to deep square leg, who's taken the catch. Fine tumbling catch. And Jimmy Anderson not out, having not faced a ball, and Smith's out for 70. England lead by 250. Off they go. Great entertainment, and very promising early signs there from Jamie Smith as to that role, that number 7 role. And he's shown there that he can play an innings at a normal tempo, but then when he has to, when he's with the tail, he can up it. So off they come. Right.
This is it.
Jimmy Anderson, what have you got for us?
The last time we'll ever see him open the bowling for England.
There we go. From the pavilion end, the crowd urging him on. Here comes Anderson, who bowls to Brathwaite, who plays and misses outside the off stump. Oh, if he gets a wicket, I think it's just going to erupt. Anderson. That's so. I thought he got an edge. Did that do you as well?
It's just for that 1 second. I was going straight to Joe Root.
Just calm down, everyone, including me. But that was played
to
the offside. That looked for all the world from this angle as if that had been edged.
Oakes bowls on the front foot and he's driving that nicely. Will he get 4 here? Might very well reach the boundary at will. Well timed by Mykhail Louis, and as we saw in the first innings with that top score of 27 out of 121, shapes up pretty well. He's got the fundamentals, and for a man on test debut, he looks as if he wants to be out there with that boundary. Goes up to 7, 12 without loss.
Yeah, and he's played and missed a few, but he seems to be able to put that behind him and still relying on that sort of good front foot technique. And yeah, a cracking shot.
As Anderson from the pavilion end bowls to Brathwaite, delivery that bowls him, and there he is. Success for Jimmy Anderson, his final innings in Test match cricket, and in the same way that he did when he got Craig Brathwaite for his 500th Test wicket some 7 years ago at this same venue. He gets the West Indies captain this time around. Brathwaite goes for 4. West Indies in their second innings have lost their first wicket. It's 12 for 1.
Oh, it's a big nip backer, isn't it? Comes down the hill, darts down the hill to Braithwaite, through that baton pad. There was a bit of a big gate there, to be honest, but beautiful bit of bowling, just hitting the top of off, middle and off stump, bowled with that slight wobble seam again. And you could just feel a big smile on Jimmy Anderson's face. I think he's been feeling a bit of the pressure of it all as well.
Yeah, it seems more relief than celebration.
Absolutely.
Just get it out of the way. Of course, he took a long while to get a wicket in the first innings. He actually got the last wicket of the innings. Now he's taken the first wicket of the second. So 2 in a row for Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah.
As Kirk McKenzie comes out to the middle now, and he knows that it's going to be a really tough examination for him at this stage. The West Indies losing their first wicket, facing that massive deficit of 250. Anderson with his tail up, having taken that wicket.
Jimmy Anderson's final opening spell in Test cricket.
Oh.
A classic Andersonian. 5 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 2.
Hey.
How about that?
Lovely.
Comfortable conditions for spectators to be watching in. 13 for 1. West Indies in their second innings. Atkinson in, and that's flown away, not completely under control, but it's whistled away down to the square leg boundary for 4. It was aerial, but safe, part of the ground. One fielder up at mid-wicket. And so the boundary to end the over. Louis on to 11. McKenzie yet to score. 17 for 1. West Indies 233 behind.
That's just the 5th scoring shot of the innings. 3 fours, a 2 and a 1. The other 2 runs have been leg byes. To highlight how difficult this has been.
Stokes racing in, and Mackenzie's forward struck on the pad now. Stokes' appealing finger goes up. Double fist clench from Ben Stokes. Mackenzie could be out for a duck here. He's reviewing it. And the reviews come fairly quickly. Let's have a closer look then.
I reckon this is
TV umpire
right
to
in
director
front. Bit of late
with
swing.
a player review for LBW.
Back into the
Unfield
pads.
decision is out. I've checked the bowler's feet. Fair delivery. Front on, please.
Still 29 overs left in the day here. This could be the second wicket to go. It's at the seam.
Ball's close to the bat. Altress confirm bat and no back, please.
And he's hit on the back leg above the flap of the pad and the thigh. In front of the stumps. Umpire waiting to see whether any bat was involved. Here's the ultra edge.
Skip Ryan through for me, please. Clear gap between bat and ball. No bat involved. Ball tracking ready, please.
Well, the only thing that can save him, I think, is where it pitches, but
Original decision is out.
it's in line.
Pitching in line, impact in line. Wicket setting.
Straight as you
Rod,
like.
you can stay with the original out decision. Stand by.
So Ben Stokes
screen
picks up the
signal now.
second wicket, and Mackenzie is out for it with an 8-ball duck. 17 for 2. West Indies a long, long way behind in this second innings.
Well, they can get on a roll here, England. You just feel that the West Indies, with the ball moving around, are almost just waiting and sitting, and they don't look like they've got a counter kind of punch.
Atkinson bowls, steered away, beats the backward point fielder. That'll run away down through the vacant third man for 4. Pope giving chase, can't stop it.
Well, I don't think Gus Atkinson will be disappointed with that shot, because that's the way that he got in the first innings, just kind of opening the blade, and he glided it to Joe Root at first slip. This occasion he got a thicker outside edge. And it's a boundary, so he'll be happy with that, but I don't think England will be too disappointed.
Atkinson moves in, bowls, and he's pulled it from short. That's a third boundary in the over, and that's, well, the most confident stroke of the 3. Little swivel of the hips. Dispatches the ball out to deep square leg.
Yeah, I like that. That's quality play.
3 slips in position for England's captain. As he moves in, beats the edge. Oh no, he's got something on it. And Ben Stokes doesn't even look back. He just continues running towards the slip cordon. And after the break, who else? Who else could it be but Ben Stokes? 32 on the board, the West Indies, and now they are 3 down. Louis with a fine tickle through and an edge to Jamie Smith behind the stumps.
And this is one of the only times he's followed the path of the ball when he was beaten. We've seen him play and miss so much yesterday, play and miss a couple today, gets a good stride in, and this time he just plays away from his body that fraction, and it's Test cricket. That's why it's Test cricket. You're playing against the best, you're testing yourself against the best for a prolonged period of time, and as much as he tried and as dogged as he was, that one mistake just after a break as well, as we so accustomed to, and he's found wanting. Ben Stokes does what Ben Stokes does.
Hodge chops on. Atkinson has another. His first in this innings. He's shaking his head, Atkinson. But Bowling a good length delivery in the channel. Cavan Hodge looking to cut the ball. It is one of his strengths, but he didn't take into account the slope here at Lord's, as he has to walk back to the pavilion.
Yeah, a couple of things on that dismissal. Not wide enough to cut, and then Atkinson has been good at just hanging it just outside off, but tracking it back, tracking the ball back off the seam. So not only was it too close, but then the movement after it hit the pitch made it even tighter stroke, and gone with a horizontal back, Cavan Hodge, and lost his wicket.
Well, this is happening quickly. Hodge disappears up the steps. 37 for 4. The West Indies trailing by 213.
Anderson from the pavilion end, sweatbands on each wrist. Around the wicket he goes, and a play and a miss, or it's an edge! Anderson is celebrating, and he's got Athanase. High fives again for Jimmy Anderson, hugged by his teammates in his final test match, wicket number 703 in his illustrious career. And Athanase is trudging off towards the pavilion. 22 from 46, but the cries of Jimmy Anderson are ringing out around Lord's again, because the ball moved away off the pitch, took the outside edge. And Jamie Smith, on test debut, did the rest.
Absolutely. Well, that's woken them up a bit, Alison. As I said just beforehand, perhaps a little bit flat, and people just easing into the evening here at Lord's, but a beautiful delivery from that angle round the wicket, just bounced and left the left-hander, perhaps trying to play it a bit on the up, but he's done it all his career, hasn't it? When you need a wicket, you go to Jimmy Anderson, and now, well, the West Indies 55 for 5.
Well, it felt tough as after he took the wicket of Craig Brathwaite, he sort of puffed out his cheeks with a bit of relief, in a sense. That was a bit more of a full-blooded celebration and fist pump and Jimmy delights.
Absolutely, another great delivery.
Atkinson bowls to Holder, short ball, and he's fending it away and taken at short leg, really getting himself in a complete tangle to that short pitch delivery. And again, England will be thinking they can close this off tonight with the lifting ball, fending it away, the catch taken, and another wicket for Gus Atkinson. He's now got, 9 in the match now on debut, and the West Indies are 79 for 6. Jason Holder gone for 20.
There's the last ball of the day, right on the money. Gus Atkinson, a tall man, so he's had to dig it in very, very short.
79 for 6. It is the end of the day's play. Day 2, just the day 2 of Schedule 5 here at the Lord's, and it's been another dominant effort by England with those 6 wickets taken, and for 79, trailing still by 171 runs. As Anderson from the pavilion end bowls to Brathwaite, delivery that bowls him, and there he is. Success for Jimmy Anderson, his final innings in Test match cricket, and in the same way that he did when he got Craig Brathwaite for his 500th Test wicket some 7 years ago at this same venue. He gets the West Indies captain this time around. Brathwaite goes for 4.
Well, 188 test matches, currently 703 test wickets for Jimmy Anderson, and about half an hour away from walking down the steps of this famous Lord's Pavilion for the very last time as a England cricketer in this storied test career. Good morning and welcome to Lord's Day 3 of this first, a Rothesay Test match between England and the West Indies. Alison Mitchell with you under cloudy skies, which I'm sure Jimmy Anderson was pretty pleased to see when he woke up this morning, standing around about 20 metres away from where he and his fellow England teammates are having a game of keepy-uppy on the outfield, and he's got a smile on his face. He's, I'm sure, trying to look and feel as relaxed as possible, knowing that this, because of the state of this match, will be his last day as an international cricketer. West Indies closed day 2 79 for 6 in their second innings, so still a whopping 171 runs behind, or 171 away from forcing England to bat again. So that scenario is highly unlikely. Joshua Da Silva is the not-out batsman overnight. I will expect either Gudakesh Moti or Alzari Joseph to come down to bat. Jayden Seales, question marks over whether Shamar Joseph is going to be fit to bat. Maybe that England only need 3 more wickets to win this match today rather than 4. And Jimmy Anderson, well, he has 3 wickets in the match already, 2 in the innings. Will he manage to get a fifer in his last Test match? Or will it be Gus Atkinson, the new kid on the block, who needs 1 for a tenfer? Oh, there's a lot of questions, aren't there? And there's a real ripple of anticipation around this ground at Lords for people wanting to just say thank you to Jimmy Anderson for everything he has done. We've got his former captain Alistair Cook alongside us here, and his former teammate and Stephen Finn as well. Cookie, how will Jimmy be feeling this morning?
Actually, I don't know. I think he's a hard one to read sometimes. But I think even he now will be getting like the feel of love from everyone. I thought the reception he got walking out to bat was brilliant, and only kind of Lords can do that. So I think if he didn't get it any other time, he did then. I mean, if there is a cricketing god who could just look down and give Atkinson, he's got 1 ball, get him the wicket first ball, then Jimmy comes on and gets the other 3 very quickly to get a 5 from walk-off. I just had his dad was there just doing something for the TV for us on the BBC there, and it was a very special moment. He actually asked the question, have you ever been on Lords before a Test match? He said, no. And you don't, do you? And actually, for all the time Michael and all the other families have watched, not just Jimmy, obviously Ruti and all the other guys, actually, they're never allowed out there. And that was a real special moment. I think they've done it really well this week for Jimmy and his family.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, isn't it? It feels like everything's fallen into place. Win the toss, bowl first. Jimmy gets to lead the team out, gets his ovation with the bat. He didn't get to play a reverse sweep, which I was very disappointed about. I thought he was lined up to play one last reverse sweep. But the most heartening thing, actually, I came on the tube today from home. And walking down, I was worried that with 4 wickets to go, that it might be a little bit quiet, but it was packed and it was busy. And the reason for that is because of one thing, and it's James Anderson's last opportunity to bowl and people's last opportunity to see a true great of the game plying his trade in an England shirt. So yeah, it'll be emotional today. I think it might catch up with everyone, but I've heard Jimmy's not bowled a ball yet this morning either. He's not a big warmer-upper before he plays. He is actually bowling now. Right behind me, yeah.
Behind you.
But yeah, this is one last time he goes through his routine, unless we see one of the most remarkable lower order rear guards ever, and we're all back here tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
Or a remarkable turnaround, a change of thought. The way he's bowled it here, there's a couple of injuries on the morning at Trent Bridge, and suddenly we're looking around who can play, and he's doing his keepy uppies as a coach, and they drag him in.
Who knows? If you are here at Lords today, I'm sure that everyone who's milling around and making their way into the ground will make sure that they are in their seats well in time for the players to take the field. So everybody get in your seats around 10 to 11. Just make sure you're there. If you want to say a thank yous to Jimmy Anderson, because I'm sure there's going to be a really rousing reception. I can feel, I hate to say, a teeny little bit of drizzle in the air just then, really, really lightly. The skies are quite leaden and overcast, complete contrast to the blue sky and warmth and the sunshine we had yesterday. Let's check in on the weather then. Timely that we've got Elizabeth Rossini on the line from the BBC Weather Centre. Elizabeth, please tell us that it's going to stay dry today.
Hello, Alison. I don't think you need me at all. I think you summed it up quite nicely, actually. Big differences between today and yesterday, and that is that today, it's really quite cloudy, but I think it should stay dry or mostly dry. But as you've mentioned, the risk is that we'll see some drizzle just fall from the thickness of the cloud on and off at times, but I don't think it's going to be extensive. But yeah, a little bit of drizzle, but any showers will probably be a lot later on this afternoon, and they'll be very few and far between. So I think we can cater for a dry day, but just a lot of cloud, and the light is going to be fairly flat as well with all of that cloud cover. Perhaps something a bit brighter later on this afternoon when I guess it could all be over, but temperatures, they're lower than yesterday's, in fact below the seasonal average, so quite chilly for the time of year, just 19 Celsius, and that of course is 66 in Fahrenheit, Alison.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Well, yeah, it's certainly cooler down here. I can feel that as well. I've got the jackets on this morning, all of us. But, yeah, lighter as well. There's no need for the floodlights, these brand new LED floodlights to be on like we had on the first morning either. I think that bit of drizzle, maybe it's in my imagination, Finny. I hope it is.
There was a little sprinkle, I would say. It wasn't quite drizzle, it was just a momentary sprinkle. But yeah, like the cricketing gods have looked upon us and Jimmy Anderson so far this Test match. I hope they play ball this morning.
There's a little spot of rain on my glasses now. I'm going to have to get rid of that. One thing you mentioned, that Jimmy Anderson didn't have a chance to face the spinners last night. It's one thing that Jamie Smith mentioned in an interview with Henry Moran last night after his 70. That he was really sorry that he wasn't able to get Jimmy on strike just for one ball. That's the only regret he had about his innings. Would Jimmy have minded?
No, I don't think he would. Actually, James Smith played really well. I think that the 30,000 or so people here were just thinking, just block that ball. I think it was the last ball of the over, but no, I'm actually surprised he hit it for 6. It was right in his slot, and I think he cleared one out of the ground anyway. He played beautifully, and actually the reason he was picked was for that kind of role. Like, be able to bat sensibly, with the control, play the situation well, but with that ability to take sides down with the lower order. And no, he will be very pleased this 2 days, and his keeping on a place which is not easy to keep, has gone unnoticed, which is a good start.
Yeah, there will be time for us to talk about the match sort of in general and more detail as we go on. It does feel fitting to spend a bit more time than usual focusing on that one person in Jimmy Anderson this morning, because that's where this great air of anticipation is around this match. And I think we will have to be on sort of family watch a bit. Michael, Jimmy's dad, said they're going to be sitting in the mound stand today, and I just said to him, how are you feeling? And he said, well, nervous, a bit emotional, but I don't need the tissues yet. I mean, they might do later on, mightn't they?
It feels as though that's going to be the case. I think there might be a few people need the tissues here today. The one moment that got me, actually, and I became close to being emotional, was when they were lining up for the anthems on the first morning, and Jimmy's daughters, Lola and Ruby, rang the bell. His wife, Daniela, was there, and his parents were there on the balcony of the bowler's bar in the pavilion. And you could see he just snuck a look out the top right-hand corner of his eye towards there, and then immediately looked down and clenched his jaw, which suggests to me that the Iceman was close to cracking. But he held it together. He went for 9 off his first over, uncharacteristically expensive, which, maybe just took a little bit of time to recalibrate. But since then, he's bowled like the James Anderson we all know and love. And, it's going to be very strange not seeing him open the bowling next week at Trent Bridge.
In all the years that you've played with him and all the highs and lows of Test cricket and close matches that you either won or that you lost, and there's been times when Jimmy Anderson has been the last man standing or battling for a draw but ending up slumped on his knees because he has a last gasp defeat. Have you known him to be emotional around the cricket field, or has he generally always held things pretty close to himself?
Well, he does hold things close to himself, but actually underneath that when he walked off Sri Lanka, you're talking about, we always tend to talk about the bad stuff, don't we, when we see emotions, which I don't know why we do, but when he walked off and he had, was it 2 or 3 balls to go, he was gutted then, and he actually said I was gutted, not from himself, it's the fact that, at the time I was really under the pump as a captain, really, everyone was, all you guys, you included, Ali, don't want you getting out Aggers in particular were calling for me to go.
Well,
I can remember every bit. No, and he was like, I just wanted to do it for you. And actually, he's got that hard-nosed edge when he bowls, and he's actually a real caring soul to the dressing room. And when he sees other people struggling, that's when you kind of see the emotional side. So it's the first time I've really seen it for him. That moment you summed up very well. I think we all saw it, and then he tried to put a brave face on it. But it is a bit of an end of an era, really. The Broad Anderson, obviously, however many times they've opened the bowling for England, and I'm not including myself in that kind of the great duo there. But not to see any of Cook, Broad, or Anderson kind of in an England team. And obviously, I'm away gone, has been. Broadie's has been as well now a year. And actually, we're now Jimmy, who's started 5 years earlier than all of us and finished 5 years. It's going to be it will be strange. It will be strange. I don't know why I just brought myself into that conversation. I'm very sorry.
Well, one thing, talking about the batting, though, I've just been reminded it's 15 years to the day of Cardiff 2009. And that was a famous Jimmy performance with the bat. He and Monty Panesar battling out a really important result in that match for the series, wasn't it?
It was. If we'd have gone 1-0 down there, we played terribly in that game, to be honest with you. We were third best
but we just dug in. Those two dug in, right? And Colley got a brilliant 70, but I didn't watch any of it. I was in the Cardiff toilets, bouncing a ball against the wall. I did it against South Africa. So some of the great draws, when Graham Onions batted out twice, didn't he, in South Africa? I've never watched the ball, so really I should a bit of time on my hands now. I should actually go back and watch every ball and see it. But he took great pride in his batting actually for a bit. For a bit. No, he did. I mean, now he's a cowboy. No, some of the shots, but for a period under a slightly different era of on the Andy Flower stuff, it was eke out as many runs and try and bat for as long period of time. Now it's under this era, it's like let's unleash some of the Burnley Lara.
Burnley Lara, exactly. We love it. The West Indies players are all in their test whites, ready for play. They've come out already. They're lining up to have their own team photograph, which is also a bit of a tradition. It often takes place actually in the days leading up to a test match, doesn't it? I think England might have had their team photo in the days leading up, because we'd always see photographs of the players picking up their individual chairs and carrying them back into the long room, very respectful and well behaved and looking after your own as they are. But yeah, West Indies are here getting lined up for a photograph with the pavilion as their backdrop.
Well, it's nice to have it with people in the pavilion actually. I think that would make for quite a nice charming photo. Yes, there's a few short guys on the back row that are having to stand on benches to make sure they're elevated above the guys on the front. Yeah, a nice moment for the West Indies, and they've not shown the best of themselves, I think it's fair to say, in this game. They've looked undercooked, but hopefully with the rhythm that they'll find through coming through this test match, they'll put up more of a fight in the next two.
I can see Shamar Joseph there. He's one of the ones at the back, actually, because as much pace as he generates, he's not the tallest of the West Indies players. So we'll keep an eye on him as he walks back. So we haven't had anything official yet as to whether he will be able to bat or not, which would be quite nice to know, because I'm sure for the moment, if it is Jimmy Anderson bowling and he takes what's the 9th wicket, I think everyone would want to know whether that is the last wicket to win the match or not.
Well, Stokes has been brilliant so far with Brody last test match at the Oval, letting him come on the bowl last. Atkinson's one away from a 10-for, but he's got one ball. Does he whip Atkinson out of the attack and say it's Jimmy's turn? Because I mean, imagine if Atkinson just runs through, he gets a wicket with his first ball. Do you carry on bowling him, or he can't? But he could ruin everyone's party and Jimmy never bowl again. Yeah,
but it's almost not a once in a career, because Gus Atkinson may be in a position to take a test 10 for again, but these are really special days out for you as a player. I never took a test 10 for. I got 9 was the most that I got in a game. Jimmy played 188 games. I think he might have 3.
He doesn't have one at Lords for all. He's got 3 10-wicket hauls, but again, none at Lords. So it goes to show just how rare feats like Atkinson, might achieve in his very first game.
Yeah, and it's been quite poignant, really, hasn't it, with the way that Jimmy's leaving us this test match, and Gus Atkinson comes in on his debut and almost overshadows the great Jimmy Anderson, or not almost, definitely overshadows the great Jimmy Anderson on that first day. And it felt like a bit of a changing of the guard moment, didn't it? And everything that I've seen previously, and especially in this test match with the added intensity, the added pressure, everything I've seen about Gus Atkinson I really like, and he deserves his 9 wickets so far. He's just going to have a brawl of some sort with James Anderson to work out who bowls the pavilion in this morning.
I know, I'll just remind everyone of the figures. So Gus Atkinson took 7 for 45 in the first innings, so his name is already up on that honours board in the home dressing room. He currently has 2 for 27 in the second innings, so already 9 wickets in the match. Jimmy took 1 for 26 in the first innings, and 10 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 11, which is very sort of typically miserly Jimmy Anderson figures, isn't it, for the second innings so far. But yeah, two in this second innings for Anderson, and we think 4 wickets remaining, but it could only be 3 wickets remaining if Shamar Joseph isn't able to come out to bat. Now, is that Jaden Seals? No, I think it's Alzari Joseph, is it? He's got the pads on, batting pads. But it's certainly Joshua Da Silva, who's a not-out batter overnight, who will come out first of all. And as far as we're waiting to see whether there'll be, I'm sure there will be some sort of guard of honour for Anderson as he comes out. But it was interesting and quite a fun moment, wasn't it, in the field with the direct hit that was affected just before Jimmy came out to bat yesterday. And because of the wild celebrations, and because of the celebrations happened, didn't they? It was the hug between the two brothers. And all of a sudden, I think they sort of didn't realise that it was actually Jimmy coming out to bat. And I spoke to Jayden Seales last night, and I think they had intended to give him a guard of honour as he came out to bat at that moment. But it all caught up in the moment of the celebration. Suddenly he was already halfway out, and that's probably very Jimmy as well. He's just like, all right, I'm just getting out there, get me down the pavilion steps, and off I go. But I'm sure we're going to see something pretty special this morning.
Yeah, and it's actually that moment when Jimmy walked out by himself. I came back to Lords for what ended up being my last first-class game. I didn't know it was going to be at the time. I thought I'd still be playing now, but that wasn't the case. But the one moment where I walked down the steps to play for Sussex against Middlesex, and your name gets announced, and there would have been 4,000 people here, maybe, and you felt like it was noisy, it was loud when people clapped you down the steps to sort of welcome you back to the club. That ovation he got yesterday was special. It was spine-tingling. I was actually annoyed. I was in the media centre behind the glass and only listening to the noise through my cans rather than actually out here, because that would have been a really special thing to experience.
Well, that's actually the joy of our commentary box, isn't it? A Test match special, because we're the only slot in the media centre that has that opening window, and that's where you were able to really soak it up and hear it all and feel it. And perhaps maybe it was actually more poignant that it was Jimmy then as that solitary figure walking out on his own. There was no blocking of his view by a guard of honour, and it was just him, his moments, and the crowd rising.
I'm sure there's an amazing photo somewhere of that. But yeah, I'm sure today will be the real emotional bit, I think, when we are actually watching. Yesterday when he opened the bowling, this is the last time he's going to open the bowling, but today this is the last time we're going to see him bowl in an England shirt. So I think that is when everyone will be kind of looking at each other, and actually a very lucky few to be able to say, because obviously as time passes and then you get a bit older and you say, I was there when Jimmy bowled, or do you remember? And he's going down as one of the greatest cricketers of all time. So it's a very, very, very lucky Steve and I to be here today.
Well, his wickets tally is one thing, and that's on paper. It speaks volumes, because 703 at the moment. The only two men in the whole of Test cricket above him is the late great Shane Warne and Matthias Muralitharan, and two spinners. So he's already, as a fast bowler, surpassed that tremendous record. And in fact, that was a poignant moment as well when he passed Glenn McGrath's wicket tally. Cookie, that was your final Test match. I think that was the final wicket of the match, which took him past McGrath's record, or we equalled it. I can't remember which it was, but the fact that he made that milestone and won the match for you in your last game, I felt that almost meant more to him, that he'd played that significant role in winning the match for his great mate Alistair Cook in his final Test match than it did for himself to reach the milestone.
Yeah, he's a very selfless person, and some of the best spells that I've seen Jimmy bowl have been pure sacrifice on his part. The 2013 game at Trent Bridge, where Stuart Broad got struck on the shoulder and wasn't 100% fit. I was bowling like a drain and got dropped for the next Test match, and Jimmy was Alistair Cook's nodding here alongside us. He dropped me. He told me.
He had to bowl 13 overs. Had no one else to bowl.
Exactly. But he bowled this mammoth 13 over spell, and that last moment taking the wicket of Brad Haddin off that thin inside edge. But there's also one other moment where the selflessness. In Australia in 2010-11, he went back in between the second and third Test matches for the birth of one of his daughters. I'm not sure which one, but one of them. Flew back out, played in the third Test match straight away. But at the fifth Test match of that series at Sydney, he was exhausted. He was ill, and he just curled up in a ball in the corner of the dressing room after 5 hard Test matches, leading the attack to what ended up being a really monumental moment in English Test cricket. It's not been achieved since, and he was just curled up, absolutely exhausted, in a ball in the dressing room, wanting to sleep because of all of the sacrifice and effort that he'd put in. And it's little moments like that we're going to see the ovations. We've seen the amazing spells of bowling. It's behind closed doors, those little moments that when you're within that dressing room and within his teammates, those are the things that you really appreciate.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't see. His family will have seen all of that. They're up in the mound stand today. We'll keep an eye on that. The stands are filling up around us. The pavilion is filling up. There's a lot of expectation. A lot of eyes will be turning towards those famous pavilion steps for the moment when Jimmy Anderson comes down here. The skies are leaden. There's a little bit of a chill in the air. But wow, this is a very special day to be at Lords, for everybody to say thank you to Jimmy Anderson. And we go from talking about one fast bowler So another is up in our commentary box, Agnes. You know all the pain that Jimmy would have gone through, but goodness me, I mean, for all these years and for all those wickets, 40,000 deliveries plus, isn't it, that we watched yesterday for Jimmy Anderson?
Very much a poor man's Jimmy Anderson. In fact, completely broke in terms of that. But anyway, no, lovely. And thanks, Alison. Keep an eye down there for us, but we'll just look ahead to the game. I think now we've got 5 minutes to go until the players come out. We're not sure whether Shamar Joseph's going to be fit to bat or not, because he does have this tweaked hamstring. You can't have a runner, of course, these days. Fast bowler and a key member of the team. Is it worth risking? That's the question with the next Test match starting on Thursday. So it might be that England actually only need 3 wickets, which means that Jimmy's got to get all of them if he's going to finish with his 5. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. I've got Carlos Brathwaite next to me, I've got Tuffers as well, and it feels a bit hollow, Carlos, don't you think? I mean, I know from experience it's not easy going around and following a team that's getting hammered. You've got to kind of keep your own spirits up too, don't you? But you must be a bit dejected about the performance that's been put on here.
It's not been the best performance. Good morning. But I don't think West Indies normally start series well to begin with. And there's a few reasons why this team underprepared. Probably lacking a little bit of skill as well, inexperience. So there are a few reasons. The unfortunate thing for me is first test of the summer, Jimmy Anderson's farewell. Would have loved to put up more of a fight and be here on day 4, going into day 5, thinking that there's a chance that you can spoil the ceremony of Jimmy Anderson and, create a nice fairy tale. And regardless of if West Indies came out on top or Jimmy Anderson had a fond farewell, then it would have been a good game of cricket to usher in the Test summer in England. But we did have that. There's still 2 tests to salvage the series, and they could even win it. Probably more unlikely than likely. But a lot of young boys in that dressing room would take a lot of learnings from the way that they've played and the way that they've watched England go about the work in some challenging conditions with bat in hand, and then with ball in hand the sun decided to peek out and show its face. But the game was lost well before the conditions.
Runs on the board, isn't it? I mean, if you get bowled out for 120 the first ever Test match, you're struggling.
Hard to come back from.
So they've learnt something, and they haven't got much time to turn things around, but if they can just take something away from this game and then produce something better on Thursday at Trent Bridge.
Yeah, I still think you need 20 wickets to win the Test match, and if you take Jimmy Anderson out of our bowling lineup and the batters can find a way to strike a balance between being real dogged and defensive and putting a price on the wicket, but also, as Salis referenced yesterday, knowing which area is your area that you'll score. You can't just allow the game to meander. There was a period where I think they had 18 overs and 16 runs. Against good teams, there will be one with your name on it. You need to back those fielders out of good positions. So when you do get that Jaffa, and it goes through third slip because you're 35 instead of 5, all of a sudden third slip is that third man or extra cover. So they need to find ways to continue to try to be dogged. I love how one track they were, and they tried to put the technique against the technique of some of the best bowlers in the world. But now to add a layer onto that, what is my scoring areas, and when that ball comes down in my scoring area, how can I be proficient in putting that ball away and transferring some pressure onto the opposition?
Yeah, and playing a bit of the West Indian way. We were talking about it last night, weren't we? That it seems a bit subdued, a bit overcoached. I don't know if that's the right way, but apart from the brilliant run out and the celebrations, which was so Caribbean, it was brilliant watching it. It was real joy,
And I think that run out speaks to Caribbean, because I was on Twitter and I saw some people saying, it's a bit of a carry-on when you're 250 down, but that's the West Indian way. Exactly. You do something fantastic, you enjoy it.
Play with a smile on your face.
Yeah, even the courage to throw the ball without the ball there and try to hit the stump direct as opposed to going the safe route and just hitting the keeper's gloves. That is the Caribbean.
It was brilliant. It was flair. It was superb. Tuffers are bringing in a second. I'm just watching down there. We can see the players gathering in the long room, and the members are waiting. Ian Bishop's ringing the bell. There he is, dear old Bishop, big smile on his face there, and he rather punched the air as he did it. He's one of our really great friends up here in the commentary boxes. So Ian Bishop's rung the bell, and now to the strains of Jerusalem, we have both teams coming down the steps, and they're going to line up, and they're going to form a guard of honour somewhere midway out, I would think, to the middle. And they'll wait for Jimmy. I don't know if he'd enjoy this or not. It'd be really interesting to see. He definitely was blinking back tears on the first day when his daughters rang the bell. You could see him there. He's just such a quiet and shy fella. But here he comes down the steps. The guard of honour is formed. He's taken his cap off. He's running his hand through his hair. And listen to the crowd as Jimmy Anderson walks out for what will almost certainly be the last time for England. Shaking hands there with Craig Brathwaite to say thank you. And he's waving to the crowd. A little pirouette there with his cap raised, just to say thank you, but he's got a smile on his face. Yeah, he's enjoying it. He's enjoying it. So you can't help but feel emotional. Yeah, it's been a long old journey for him, you know. And as you were saying earlier, a lot of the pain of bowling fast. You know what you put your body through, and he's still doing it, nearly 42 years old, and all the England players coming up now and giving him a shake of the hand and an arm wrapped around his shoulders. It's lovely, isn't it, Tuffers, to be honest?
Yes. Morning, everyone. Morning, Aggers. Well, he's put the hard yards in, hasn't he?
Yeah.
For a guard of honour at Lord's, and you can see he's emotional.
He is.
He's emotional. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of hours in the gym, eating the right stuff for that longevity.
He's really trying hard.
Yeah.
You can see him there. He's really trying hard to keep this together. The crowd is still on their feet.
The old bottom lip might be going a bit there.
Absolutely. You see him on the screen.
Yeah.
No, he's
sinking in.
He is shedding a tear.
It's sinking in.
Yeah, you can see him there, and he's, oh dear.
Oh, well, it's a tear of joy, I think, you know, and a tear of appreciation for what you've achieved, which is huge.
Well, he's now applauding, saying thank you to the crowd. It's very moving. Alison, what was your perspective?
Oh, goosebumps, Aggers, down here. Cookie, doesn't it feel very privileged to have witnessed that and just felt that wave? And it's been done well, hasn't it? Jerusalem, how many times he would have stepped out to that song? Very rarely on day 3 of the Test match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's quite lucky he's not bowling the first ball.
Might be like jelly in his hands.
A little bit. I just saw Dan Lawrence walk past and he said, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do, he was telling Dan. But, yeah, very special. Look, not a seat empty, is it? Everyone's in to see. Yeah, I was just being Jimmy Anderson the greatest. That's enough, isn't it?
It is. Aggers, the players' balcony, of course, was packed as well. All the England support staff. A very moving moment and a fitting thank you to Jimmy.
Yeah, he's there at mid-on. He's loosening up, so suggesting that he's going to get the ball in his hand. But Gus Atkinson's going to bowl what remains of the over that he started last night, and of course dismissed Jason Holder with the 5th ball of it. So there's 1 ball to go in this over. And he's one away from 10 for in the game on his debut. And yet Anderson, you can't not bowl Jim Anderson after that.
No,
you can't say, well, there you are, Jim. Just wait a bit. We'll see if Gus picks up 1 for his. You can't.
Yeah, I mean 10 for on your debut. It doesn't get any better. John.
It doesn't.
No.
But he's going to start, and he's going to bowl to Alzarri Joseph, who likes to play a few shots, as we know. 79 for 6 is the score, and Atkinson comes in, bowls the bouncer, first ball of the day, which goes down the leg side. Now, is Jimmy going to come on this end? Now, that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
So Atkinson will have his chance to get his 10 wickets, and Jimmy's going to come on and bowl the nursery end. For the first time in this game, actually, he's bowled entirely up at the pavilion end.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if there's a bit of relief there as well. That it's because, as you say, very, very sort of, I wouldn't say shy chap, is he? But I mean, he doesn't like the rigmarole of it all.
So he doesn't seek it out.
No, he certainly doesn't seek it out. So the build-up to it would have been playing on his mind and how it all goes and everything. So I'm sure that there's a bit of relief there. But a lot of what the memories you must have, 700 poles, Oh.
It's very special. A full house at Lord's giving you an ovation like that as you come out for the last time.
Yeah, well,
it's not surprising he just looked a bit broken there at the end.
HQ, mate. We're at HQ.
Yeah.
The pavilion in the background. And
now, though, he's going to be doing what he enjoys most,
yes,
and that is bowling. And he's got a chance. He has got a chance of getting 5 wickets here. De Silva's on strike, and Anderson's first ball is quite wide. Swings away down the slope. And he's collected by Jamie Smith. So there's 3 slips, and there's 3 in the covers. And then the mid-wicket. And field away down the distance there at long leg.
I bet his body will be breathing a sigh of relief.
Yep.
Even if the brain is a bit...
I was wondering there, and I watched that.
Muddled.
Do you think, I mean, he's got this new role. And I'll ask him, because I'll be talking to him at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll go to Trent Bridge next week in his new role, just rock up in his tracksuit?
Not sure.
Interesting, isn't it? In he goes, over the wicket, bowls on leg stump, tucked away by De Silva, finds mid-wicket. And no run, 79 for 6.
I'll be honest, I might be looking for a game off. just to sort of have a bit of a rest.
Because that will be when it really hits.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right, because there's all that build-up, and I can remember for me, I mean, not as grand as this, but I can remember me, there is that sort of slight build-up and tension and everything, and then it comes, and there's that adulation and everyone patting you on the back and everything, and then there is that sort of crash when you think, oh, crikey, it's really done.
Anderson runs away, bowls, and a little bit of movement again down the slope. Ball ignored by the right-handed De Silva. Yes. Alternatively, you're sitting at home watching on the telly, I suppose, and wishing you were there. So it's going to be a difficult week for him.
Absolutely, and it's difficult for all sorts of sportsmen and women.
Yeah.
You know, when that time comes to us all, which it does, you know.
It's still great to go out the top, though. I mean, this...
Oh, absolutely.
Rather than hobbling off with a hamstring injury.
Oh, God, don't. No.
And the career just melting away to have this.
It doesn't... It's top of the tree stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. And very few people get to enjoy that, and it's been the result of an extraordinary career. Anderson runs in, bowls, a little bit of movement again, but De Silva's up to it, pats it away into the covers.
And he's just got to now think, oh, Christ, I've still got running bowl here.
Yeah.
You know, got to get back to business. But he did look. You know, he's having a chat with his mates there as well, and they're all having a bit of a laugh and a joke. That was funny. Funny. He was saying to Dan Lawrence Cook, he said, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do now? Do I walk through? What do I do? Do I brush my hair? What do I do? Yeah.
There's the last ball of it. Over, is it? There's one more to go. It's outside the off stump again.
Lovely.
And collected by Jamie Smith. Anderson walks back. He's walking back very slowly. It's almost as if he's savouring every moment here.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
He normally walks back a bit more quickly than that.
Yeah, I think he's perhaps just trying to get a bit of air in.
Yeah, just suck it in.
Yeah, and just let the old adrenaline just settle a bit. Just sort of, taking his time.
Just enjoying every ball. Won't be doing it again. 79 for 6. De Silva is on 8, and he waits now as Anderson runs up. Bowls to him. Oh, he drives and misses. Lured there into an outswinger. Just a fraction away from giving Anderson his 3rd wicket in this innings.
Huge smile from him.
Yeah, a little bit of luck there for the batsman. He was tempted to go at it. Drifted away.
Still got it.
Nice question's been raised here. I like this. You know, after really bad days, poor old coaches get shunted out at the end of the day to go and explain it to the media.
Yes.
Will the bowling consultant, after a bad day for England, be pushed out there to go and face the press? I don't know. It's a tough one, that, isn't it? But the poor old coach.
Yeah.
Worst example of that was in the World Cup in India. The fielding coach got pushed out to preview the match.
That was it. Oh, what are you doing there?
That's what he asked. He said, I don't know.
That's when you know you've had a bad day at the office.
Well, they hadn't had it yet. It was actually the day before the game.
Yes.
That was anyway. 79 for 6. Now what have we got here? We've got Atkinson. He's bowling to Joseph, who smears that into the leg side. He's gone high in the air.
Wow.
Stokes is chasing after it. That went really high. He almost got under it. He's chased that from mid-on to within 7 yards of the boundary. That must have got miles up. It's out of our view. High up into the clouds. Well, Joseph's going to go down swinging here by the look of it.
Wow. Not a bad shot.
Well, what else can you do? They're so far behind. That was a proper slog. Not even halfway through the game yet. No. 169 behind.
Interesting what you were saying to Carlos about this sort of West Indies team.
Let's watch Atkinson. Wanting 1 for his 10, he comes in, bowls a bouncer.
You know, okay, they're trying to find their way, and we know all about politics and what have you and everything in West Indies cricket, but they seem to have lost their way, sort of a bit of brand, if you know what I mean. You know, Carlos was saying, do you get stuck in and try and get a score that way? Do you play a few shots? And like the West Indies teams of old, you know, they've got to find a style of how they're going to play. Disappointed with some of the bowling, because we thought the bowling was going to be pretty good, didn't we?
Yeah.
So they're obviously haven't hit the ground running, and hopefully they'll take that forward to the next go of Test matches. But with the bat, they just looked a bit stuck.
Third fielder on the leg side boundary now as Atkinson bowls, and there's another smear out into the leg side. Picked up a deep square leg, and Joseph picks up another one. 82
what I
for
mean?
6. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, we've said this so many times, Tuffers, haven't we, that you have to treat Test cricket with respect, and by that I mean the players have to be prepared for it, and to only have 1 3-day game.
Yep.
Asking
for trouble.
Well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unexpected that this has happened with the preparation that they've had, and you have to treat Test cricket with more care than that.
Yeah.
Because the players have to be at their best. They've got to be ready to go.
And full houses.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a delicate situation at the moment. 82 for 6, and De Silva is on strike now to Atkinson. He runs in smoothly, a scuttling sort of a run. He bowls on the off stump, short of a length, and he's set off for a run there. Why on earth did he do that? He's gone rushing back into his ground again. Joseph was going nowhere, and De Silva wanted a single. What actually happened was he played it back to the bowler, who misfielded it, and the ball just ricocheted towards mid-wicket, and De Silva fancied a run, but Joseph wasn't even looking. So De Silva got halfway up the pitch, had to turn around and go back again as the throw came whistling in from the fielder. That's all they needed.
No, you don't want a bit of chaos just to finish off the innings, that is for sure.
Atkinson bowls, that's punched away, rolls up towards mid-on, and there's no run. 82 for 6, leaden skies, but a much better day than was forecast a couple of days ago. It looked like today could have been a write-off.
Yeah.
No ball being signalled there, incidentally. So one more goes to the score, but yeah, it's a bit grey and cool.
I mean, another thing I was just going to say, but what an opportunity for this West Indies side to really sort of someone come up, or a couple of guys to really make a name for themselves.
Atkinson bowls, it's short, just paddled away into the leg side. So Joseph will be down on strike once more. 84 for 6. Think back, we were saying yesterday, Viv Richards watching. I saw Clive Lloyd last night as well, wandering back. Dear old Clive. Disappointed, you think of the way that they played, the way that the West Indies played cricket in those days. Yes, they were the best team in the world, but they had a bit of a strut, a bit of flair about it. They played the West Indian way.
Absolutely.
And in the 90s, they still tried to continue that a bit, and there were some collapses and everything else, but it would be nice to see a touch of West Indian cricket about the way they're playing. In comes Atkinson and bowls, and that's smashed away down the ground.
There you go.
Well, there you go. That's what we like to see. It's just a bit of that, because they just seem rather meek at the moment.
Yes, it all looked a little bit tentative, didn't it?
Yeah.
Andy?
Well, just to illustrate that point, I mentioned yesterday how in every decade from the 1940s to the 1990s, the West Indies were the fastest scoring team in Test cricket. That's in terms of runs per over. But since then, in the 2000s, they were the 8th fastest scoring out of 10. In the 2010s, the 9th fastest out of the 12 teams that played in that decade. And so far in the 2020s, they are the slowest scoring team out of the 12 sides that have played Test cricket. So that shows the extent to which that's dropped off, but also that it's quite a long-standing thing now, going back a couple of decades. In 2022, West Indies beat England 1-0, and then they beat Bangladesh 2-0 before losing to Australia 2-0. But that was the first year, and they had 3 wins and 2 losses. The first calendar year that the West Indies had won more Tests than they'd lost since 1994.
Wow.
So from that period of dominance, that sort of 15, 20 years when they were one of the top 2 or 3 greatest sides that cricket has ever seen. It's going back 30 years now that they haven't certainly been as dominant and have been quite weak for prolonged periods of that.
Sport's all about confidence, isn't it? And if you are losing, you can withdraw. It just feels that that's what's happened to the West Indies. In goes Anderson, bowls. Oh, it's a beautiful ball, and he's caught behind. It's a third wicket for Jimmy Anderson. Can he get to 5? He's had De Silva caught behind with a beautiful ball, and the number of times we've seen Jimmy Anderson pull that off. It swung away. It opened De Silva up. He tried to flick it away towards the leg side, a little feathered edge, and Smith was there to take the catch behind the stumps.
What a Jaffa that is.
703.
Yeah. What a Jaffa, just slightly angled in. And then that beautiful late away swing, drawing the drive.
Correction, 704, of course. He got one in the first inning. He's looking at his family there, celebrating. Oh, look at his dad. His dad's up on his feet, applauding. They're all up there, wife and 2 daughters.
Just likes taking wickets, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Likes taking wickets.
Well, we think there might only be 2 left.
And has he got 3?
He's got 3.
Yeah, might be 2 left.
Yeah, I mean, there might be 3 left, but
wouldn't surprise me.
No,
it's swinging.
Yeah,
that beautiful shape, that beautiful Jimmy Anderson shape, which just slightly angles in and then swings late. I think that's been the key a lot. It's the late swing, John. You know about that bit of swing bowling. It's that sort of slight in angle and then late swerve away.
Yep.
Sometimes people swing it; they can swing it big, but it's from the hand.
Yep. Is that score 88 again?
Cool, yeah. There's been a lot. There's a lot of 8s this game. Spooky.
Struck the West Indies down in the first innings. Moti, he bowled nicely actually. He's come out now. He's left-handed. He's taking guard. It's the fall of the next wicket where we'll know whether there's actually a full head count of West Indians batting or not. All because of this. Well, it's a sort of a hamstring strain, and they might surely consider that it's not worth putting a big fast bowler out there to go and bat in a hopeless situation with a Test match starting on Thursday. So
that's bust, couldn't it?
Yeah. So it might be that England only need 9 wickets. But we haven't had any official word on that. Looking at that ball again, it's just it's a beautiful Lord's delivery.
Yes.
Going in down the slope. 88 for 7. 3 wickets for Jimmy Anderson. Slips lined up. In he goes now. Bowls, and that's outside the off stump. Moti has a look at it and takes the bat out of the way. A lovely shot of his family there. All getting up at the moment that the finger was raised. Up they all got. .88 for 7. He's sharing a word with Stokes, who's fielding at mid-on. Anderson again. Past the umpire, runs in, bowls. Oh, horrible little nibble there from Moti. A very wide ball. Missed it. 88 for 7. 704 wickets at 26.43. We're told that Joseph is going to bat. So, well, it increases Anderson's prospects of finishing with 5 wickets. Moti yet to score, waits. Anderson bowls to him, is forward. Leaning onto that front foot, picked up at mid-off by Chris Woakes, who will presumably will assume the bowling captaincy, as it were, next week.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be weird, isn't it? We're going to be there, Trent Bridge.
Certainly.
And no Jimmy Anderson walking out. I haven't seen that for a while. I haven't seen that for what, 20 odd years?
Anderson bowls, and it's driven. That's a nice shot. And then Woakes fields. Well, of course, famously, it happened at Trent Bridge against Australia, and he was injured, couldn't play. Stuart Broad, he bowled
8 for 15.
Bowled him out before lunch, is all it was. Yes, it was.
I was on that. I was doing that with blowers.
You were.
Yeah.
They were blowers. They'd go for a lie down after.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans were on him, towels.
Yeah. Incredible catch by Stokes.
Yeah. What an atmosphere that was.
Yeah.
The old legs stamping on the floor. Great stuff.
88 for 7. 1 ball to go in this over. And goes Anderson. He's there, and he bowls down the leg side. Little flick and a miss. Again, neatly taken by Smith. He's done a good job. I think if it wasn't for everything else, we'd be probably talking a bit more about the wicketkeeper.
Yes.
But he's just done a very tidy job, but inevitably it's always the wicketkeeper who's under scrutiny when they first come in.
And done pretty well at Lords as well.
Yeah.
Because it can be tricky to keep wicket at Lords with that sort of wobble.
No, he's had a good game.
Yeah, he has.
Well, I can't see Joseph hanging around here. He's going to carry on playing his shots, I think.
Yeah. I'd definitely have a few scouts out.
Yeah.
England have.
They've got 3 retreating on the leg side. Atkinson, Duckett and Brooks out there at deep square leg.
Might be tempted just to put Harry Brook a little bit more mid-wicket.
Yes. He rather drags the ball in that direction.
Yeah, he's a bit square for me,
Yeah.
but we shall see. Yeah, you talked about the West Indies. It's difficult. It's difficult to see a way back as well, isn't it? With all the troubles and money and IPLs and franchise cricket, can't actually sort of see a route back. Sometimes it can be a bit cyclical, can't it? You have that brilliant team, and then you have to rebuild and what have you. But at the moment,
very difficult. After you left me last night, I had actually very interesting hour with Mr. Graves, who's the chief executive there, and just going through some of the difficulties that they face. It's,
how long did that take?
About an hour. You scuttled off.
That's it. A bit tired.
88 for 7. 162 is still the deficit.
Right, where's this one going?
And comes Atkinson, moves in, bowls short, and he's got a top edge on this, and he's just spooned in the air. He's very slow setting off for the run. And Anderson there had a shy at the stumps as Joseph made his ground. He's now waving to the dressing room. Not sure what he's after. So he's waving there. Ben Stokes is saying, "You all right?" Oh, he doesn't like his bat.
No.
That's the problem. The fact that it was an ugly swipe had nothing to do with the fact that he mistimed it. A slower ball, actually. some sort of pull shot there. Well, it's exciting watching Joseph bat. 89 for 7. 1 wicket has fallen today, and it was taken by Jimmy Anderson. He's still 161 behind. Field being set here for the left-handed Moti. There's 3 slips. Gully's quite fine. There's a backward point as well. As Atkinson runs in and he bowls, and Moti goes on the front foot. Anderson strolls into field at mid-off. As Atkinson just wants 1 for a 10-wicket haul in his first Test match, which is really quite something.
Yeah, it's what a way to start that is.
When was the last Englishman to do that, I wonder?
Sure.
John Lever.
Oh, in India, is it?
JK, yeah.
A rather controversial game.
Why was that?
Because it was
Vaseline.
Yes, it was Atkinson bowls, a bounce, motors underneath it. It was devised by Bernie Thomas, the physio, but to stop the sweat. It was in Mumbai, wasn't it? To stop the sweat pouring into the bowler's eyes.
Yep.
They put these Vaseline strips above their eyes.
Right.
Vaseline is quite handy at shining. I didn't think there was much consideration given to that at the time. And the Indians objected to it. I can't remember whether they retained throughout. I don't think they were worn again. In comes Atkinson, moves in, bowls outside the off stump, and he's got under this and hit the ball away into the offside, out towards deep cover. Chase for Anderson, and he's he's in his last game he's put a despairing dive in there. Again, typical of Anderson. He's chased that all the way down to the boundary. A huge dive, and he saved 1 run.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Or did he just get it back? Yes, lovely.
I think he has. Yeah, it's just a typical wholehearted, selfless performance. Stuart Broad's in the box. Look at that. Nice to see you, Stuart. Bring back memories, maybe, of the last. Yeah. Oh, Molly, I see two. All the broads are in. Apart from the youngest. Where's she today? Nanny? Babysitting? That's what it's all about. 92 for 7. Right, let's see what Joseph does here.
Could be anything.
It could be anything. Then comes Atkinson, moves in, bowls it to bouncer, he goes for the hook shot. And makes no contact.
John Lever, that match was in Delhi in December 1976.
Oh, Delhi, was it?
Took 7 for 46 and then 3 for 24.
So was that the Vaseline game?
Wisdom doesn't mention Vaseline in his match report. Aggers tended to gloss over these things.
Right.
Before that, you've got to go back to Alec Bedser on this ground in 1946. Took 11 wickets on debut. And the other 4 England players to have 10 wickets on Test debut. Kenneth Farnes, a fine pre-war fast bowler. Father Marriott, who I think was a leg spinner, played in 1933. His only Test. Took 11 against West Indies.
Did he bowl on a dog collar?
What was he dropped after 11 foot? Not required, Father.
Extraordinary.
Harsh selection.
I think I might have got the wrong game. I'm sure the Vaseline game was played in Mumbai. 92 for 7. In comes Atkinson. Bowls another swipe and a miss from Joseph. It ends the over. 92 for 7. There was a sort of celebratory game played, like a centenary game or something, and I think
that was 1980. Both of them took 13 wickets in that.
That might have been. I'm going to check on the Vaseline tuffers.
I don't have a Vaseline filter on my stats engine. Then
Right, it's time for me to go. Who's coming in here? Fazier's coming in here at 92 for 7. Tuffers, thoughts from you?
Yeah. Andy?
Well, just to finish the list of England players with 10 on debut, 2 from the 19th century. Fred Martin at the Oval against Australia took 12 for 102. The only England bowler to take more than 11 on debut. And Tom Richardson, a great Surrey fast bowler at Old Trafford in 1893, also took 10 on debut.
Don't wander too far away, I guess you could be back pretty soon if the West Indies decide that they're either going to go down blazing or swiping, whichever way it is. But it's not a good look from a West Indian point of view. And I think it's a pity as well for Jimmy Anderson. You probably want to go out with a real contest, certainly a match going into a 4th, maybe a 5th day, and the sense of real test match cricket, and the West Indies are falling away here without much of a fight. Anderson with the wicket this morning of Joshua De Silva. Round the wicket, bowls to Moti, turns it away, backward to square, no run. Score remains at 92 for 7, starting the morning at 79 for 6. And a real tribute to Jimmy Anderson is the crowd has turned out.
Absolutely.
And I mean, think about it. Just 4 wickets to get, could be over in a few minutes, but it's such an appreciation of arguably one of the greatest servants to English cricket, that they've come out in their numbers to take it all in, however long it lasts.
Absolutely. That would have been the conversation, wouldn't it? Well, it might only last 10 minutes.
Anderson bowls to Moti and lets it go by. In fact, he was pushing at it, went past the outside edge. The keeper and the slips waiting for that opportunity.
Well, not only performances are special, tempers and all that kind of stuff, but occasions like this are, aren't they? Things that said, I was there when saw Jimmy Anderson walk down the steps for the last time. Sometimes people like that emotion and atmosphere, sometimes more than the actual cricket.
Precisely. You just want to be there. You want to soak it all in.
Yeah.
As Anderson continues, bowls to Moti, lifting the delivery that he plays away into the offside, out towards extra cover, no run. And you're talking about someone. You look at just the sheer numbers: 21 years, 704 Test match wickets, 40,000 and something Test match deliveries.
Oh, that one hurts. 40,000 deliveries.
Yeah, but you're only just coming up from a few metres.
Mr. Botham used to call me the step and fetch it. Bowlers, the spinners, the step and fetch it.
Short mid wicket in place as Anderson bowls short of a length, and Moti almost squared up, plays it back along the pitch. He's on 3. Joseph on 8, 92 for 7.
Well, we were mentioning that, I think, yesterday, weren't we? About those sort of moments when we was all at school and sitting on sofas and listening to radios, and that, what we've witnessed today, was one of those moments.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Moments that you never forget.
Nope.
If you're a dad, you bring your kid along, you bring the grandkids along to appreciate the moment, soak it in. Anderson bowls, and he's looking for the big heave as Moti gets it away over mid-on and will pick up a boundary. So he's having a bit of a waft of his own. earns himself 4 runs, his first boundary of the innings. He goes on to 7. It's 96 for 7.
Quite cultured, actually. As you say, Azari's down the other end, giving it a real smear, real white, but that was actually nice, straight back, just lifted it straight over mid-on's head.
It's really up to the West Indies to show that there is a bit of backbone, there is a bit of fight, there is a bit of appreciation of West Indies cricket and Test match cricket and what it means, because there's a Test match at Trent Bridge, one at Birmingham.
Not far away now either. They come at a pace. I think they're going to need to set down.
Back to back to back.
Yeah, going to need to set down and do some thinking.
Anderson last ball of the over balls, and this time Moti's playing defensively back along the pitch. The end of the over, he's on 7. Joseph on 8, the wicket to fall this morning. The Silver caught behind of the departing Jimmy Anderson. He went for 9. It's 96 for 7, still trailing by 154.
I mean, it's not through lack of effort or trying. You know, I can assure you I've been in these positions quite a few times as well, and things don't go your way. You get caught on a wicket. Lords is pretty renowned for it as well. Well, with England, it was always Perth, I think, you know, where we always, the bounce at Perth always kept doing this, you know what I mean? But you have got to regroup, and you've got to try and come up with some plans and come up with some methods to just stay in the game. That's what it is all about, you know. When you're up against it, stay in the game, and then you never know what might happen. A couple of great catches, a run out, some chap, you know, scores a brilliant 100, great wickets and things like that, and then all of a sudden you can build on that.
Well, I suspect we're in for some entertainment as Alzari waits on Gus Atkinson, looking for his 10th wicket of his debut test. Shorty's into the pole, top edge, going towards long leg, and it's taken. He's taken 10 on debut at Lord's. Gus Atkinson, in the match where Jimmy Anderson makes his farewell. It's the passing of the baton in many ways. 10 wickets on debut, the first time it's been done since John Lever, almost, 50 years ago now, in that Test match in India. But he's taken 10, and it's going to be a moment to remember, not just for the grand farewell of Jimmy Anderson, but Gus Atkinson takes another wicket, and the West Indies are now 96 for 8. Alzari Joseph departs for 8.
10 for. Lovely. Wow. He'll be delighted, and it's a very sort of poignant moment, isn't it? I'm sure that Jimmy Anderson will be the first to run up and congratulate him on that as well. You know, he'll be disappointed. Might not get his 5. Well, he won't get his 5 for now. But, yeah, fantastic. And what a great catch down there as well by Ben Duckett as well. But well bowled Gus Atkinson. He's thoroughly deserved it. Kept it simple, hasn't he? He's got that pace to worry. But he's also got a lot of skill and just keeps things in straight lines and keeps it very, very simple. So what a day to remember for Gus Atkinson.
Absolutely.
10 for at Lords against the West Indies on debut.
Near full house.
Come on.
Farewell for Jimmy Anderson, trying to steal some of the great man's thunder.
What could you do?
Yeah, so I mentioned he's the 7th player to take 10 on debut for England. The 19th in all Test cricket. Most recently, Abrar Ahmed, the Pakistan spinner, against England in Multan. The last pace bowler to take 10 on debut was Pakistan's Mohammad Zahid, an express speed bowler in 1996 against New Zealand. Took 11 for 130, but had a rather injury-tailed career thereafter. Before that, John Lever was the previous pace bowler to take 10 on debut. That was 1976 in Delhi, the most recent instance of an England bowler taking 10 in his first test.
Talking about 10, well, the man with, I was going to say 10, but it's actually number 70 on his back. That's Shamar Joseph, who's come out now with that injury and concerns about his fitness for the next Test match starting on Thursday.
Well, you don't want to really do something here. That would be a bit of a waste. 3
slips go down as Atkinson bowls to him, and he's driving off the outside edge, probably where maybe a 4th slip or a gully would have been down to 3rd man for a single. So he gets off the mark rather scratchily. Moti back in strike on 7, and England just 2 wickets away from wrapping up a comprehensive innings victory over the West Indies to start this 3-match series.
Well, somebody can get 5 for, can't he, Jimmy? Yeah, 2 wickets. He's got 3 for, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry,
can still get 5.
Got my numbers wrong.
Don't look for me to help you in that way. I was hopeless.
I was usually quite good at gauging the tail as well. Oh, I've got, how many have I got? I've got 3. Oh, no, yeah, another couple, lovely. Mop up. Why not?
Bit of change in the field with the other left-hander on strike, and Moti. There's now a leg slip, so 3 slips, a leg slip, short leg, mid-off, backward point, and a long leg. As delivery from Atkinson, short of a length, and he's letting it go by again through to the keeper. I wonder what Shoaib Bashir will be thinking about all of this standing at long leg. He's been a spectator through all of this.
I'm here. It's the old fresh air game, isn't it? You have to pay your subs. You pay your subs and you don't get a bowl.
Didn't pay the ball fee, so didn't get an opportunity.
Got naught as well.
And then the possibility of what? Getting dropped for the next test? On what grounds?
Well, yeah, could do. Yeah, he might miss out. It swings usually up at Trent Bridge, doesn't it?
Atkinson. Halfway through the over, runs it again, bowls to Moti on leg stump, plays it away off the hip towards short leg. There's no run. And the score remains at 97 for 8 to the West Indies from the overnight 79 for 6.
Just got a few quid for fielding.
Not a bad effort.
No, we'll take that. Yeah, part of the celebrations. And, well, and part of Jimmy Anderson's last test match, as you say, talking about things that you remember, even if you don't get a bowl.
Yeah.
No, I was part of it.
I was there.
I was on the field.
On the field. I didn't do anything, but I was there. Delivery on leg stump is played back along the pitch to the bowler from Atkinson, but certainly from a West Indies point of view, when you take in situations like this, which are far too frequent, and as Andy was pointing out, you know, many people ask the question, is it a T20 cricket that has caused this? Is it the new money situation and the sharing of power? As Atkinson bowls, lifting delivery outside the off stump through to the keeper, end of the over. But the numbers show this has been going on for almost 30 years.
Yeah,
it didn't start with T20.
Yeah.
It didn't start with the big 3. It didn't help what is going on now, but it's been going on for quite some time. 97 for 8 at the end of the over.
Yeah, it hasn't crept up on you, has it?
No, it hasn't. It's really a situation where you look back on it, Tuffers, and you say, up to that period in 1995 when the West Indies lost that unbeaten period, and then it didn't creep up yet, but it was almost the West Indies falling off a precipice, because from 1997 for about 20 years, and the West Indies lost on average 5 test matches every year.
Yeah.
Went to Pakistan, lost 3-0. Went to South Africa, lost 5-0. Went to New Zealand, lost 2-0. Came to England, lost 3-1. Then 5-0 in Australia. So it was just almost an avalanche of defeats long before T20 cricket.
Yep.
Long before the new financial model. But it's going to be Anderson in his farewell to bowl to Moti past the outside edge into the gloves of the keeper. It is Shamar Joseph, on strike, the two lefties, the tail enders for the West Indies. The die is cast. It was cast virtually from mid-afternoon on day 1 when the West Indies were routed for 121. Tuffers has taken his leave to be replaced by Michael Vaughan.
Good morning. Morning, everyone. It's not long, is it? Can Jimmy get the last 2?
Let's see. Can he get a 5 to finish? As he bowls round the wicket and he's in behind it carefully is Shamar Joseph. Nothing extravagant as we saw in the manner in which he fell in the first innings. A bit of a heave, a bit of a waft, a bit of a halfway helicopter, losing his footing as well, and in the end slicing it away out towards backward point. Just seemed to typify the confusion in the West Indies camp as far as how they should cope and how they should approach taking on England in helpful bowling conditions on that first day. It's 97 for 8, trailing by 153. 3 slips go down. Anderson bowls to Joseph, driving, nowhere close to it. Not any movement of the feet, just a waft of the bat into the gloves of the keeper.
Yeah, you kind of go back to that first morning where the West Indies were 34 for 0. Made a good start, looked nice and disciplined. And then the wicket started to tumble. The wicket that Jimmy's just got from Joshua De Silva, that's a throwback, isn't it? How many times have we seen that, where Jimmy Anderson kind of angles it in, and you think as a right-hander you can kind of work it on the onside, and that late away swing, away nip.
He's continuing round the wicket to bowl to Joseph, and he's pushing defensively into the offside for the single. To the right of mid-off, the throw comes in, misses the stumps, backed up by the captain Ben Stokes on the onside. And indeed it will be very much a significant difference come Trent Bridge on Thursday. Without Jimmy Anderson in an England team after 21 years, he would have had a situation over the last couple of years where he's been managed more carefully with workload management, and therefore he wouldn't have been an ever-present in an England team. And he's coming in again now to bowl to Moti, and he's getting a short ball down the leg side, not taken cleanly by the keeper. And just off the tips of the gloves down towards fine leg, and it's a wide signalled. Okay.
Well, I reckon that's the first ball. I mean, it wasn't an easy one. It's the first ball I think Jamie Smith has actually dropped.
Yeah, no buys. Yeah.
He's been fantastic behind the stumps and made it look very, very simple, nice and easy.
And a bit of applause for the West Indies 100 coming up, 100 for 8, trailing by 150. Anderson still persevering, 2 deliveries left in the over, bowls, and he's looking to play this one away down the leg side. This one comes off the pad, goes away towards a fine leg, and a diving attempt at a save. Successfully, they'll come back for a couple of runs, would it be? Not seeing any signal from the umpire. I think they're waiting to see if they went to the boundary.
It's also, how many times has a spinner played for England and not bowled the ball?
Right, it's happened a few times. I think we had one in the 2020 summer. I'll dig out the stats. And here in 2018 against India, I think Adil Rashid played in that game. India skittled in both innings. In fact, it was the last time in Test cricket that a team's top 7 were all out in both innings without anyone reaching 30. And that was a way more experienced India side. Virat Kohli, Pujara, Rahane, Dinesh Karthik was playing, Murali Vijay, KL Rahul, really experienced, high-class top 7 struggled on this ground. So it's not unique to West Indies, but I'm pretty sure in that game Adil Rashid played for England and didn't bowl. But I'll see if I can get a list of other matches, but there have been a few.
We're still examining that attempt at a save by Shoaib Bashir.
Yeah, that's why it brought my thoughts to Shoaib Bashir, because
he's going from fine leg to fine leg.
He's just
leg buys.
Yeah, it's a brilliant stop on the boundary, but he's yet to bowl an over.
100 for 8. Last delivery of the over from Jimmy Anderson. Still striving for that 4th wicket, and he's getting himself in a bit of a tangle. Is the batsman Shamar Joseph first walking across the stumps and then turning it away to long leg to retain the strike. He's on 3, Moti is on 7. It's a 147 that the West Indies still trail by at 103 for 8.
Gus Atkinson with 10 wickets inside 2 days and a session of Test match cricket. He's raised the ball twice to the crowd, first and foremost for that fifer on day 1, and then just a short while ago for 10 wickets in a match. Is that right? It's happened 8 times in Test match cricket that a debutant bowler has got 10 wickets.
For England?
Yes.
So 7.
7. It seems a lot, that.
Yeah, well, there's only the second since 1946. So John Lever in December 1976 was the other, first time in a home Test since Alec Bedser on this ground, June 1946.
I suppose a lot of that would have to do with the era of uncovered pitches and the sorts of surfaces that you would have played on, how much more helpful it would be for the bowler to take nothing away from the achievement, of course. But again, there's so many variables when you talk about Test cricket as it would have evolved over the years. Here's Atkinson, 10 wickets under his belt, and he's backing away in a big swipe as if he's trying to take the place of Alzari Joseph with that effort. Shamar Joseph misses it completely. It remains at 103 for 8.
I've just seen a tweet actually from Geoffrey Boycott, and he's lifted his best 4 bowlers of all time, and he's listed SF Barnes, Malcolm Marshall, Shane Warne, and Fred Truman.
Never want to not try and trigger an argument, Sir Geoffrey, and certainly hoping that this latest challenge with cancer he's able to overcome. But yeah, that is a discussion about how do you measure greatness. It surely can't be by the most. The most doesn't automatically make you the best. As Atkinson bowls him up completely, taking the off stump out of the ground. He was backing away, looking for the heave, and in the end it's the off stump that goes cartwheeling. 11 wickets in the Test match now for Gus Atkinson, and it's a 103 for 9. Moti is there on 7. The last man, Jayden Seales, is to come in very shortly. And as England celebrate the 9th wicket, Gus Atkinson celebrates his 11th of the match on debut. I'll leave it with you, Michael, and then it's going to be the man to assist you in performing the final rites on this grand farewell for Jimmy Anderson. We're going to be back to Aggers.
Yeah, full ball, almost a Yorker. He just saw Shamar Joseph just giving himself a bit of space, so he had the way of just making sure that he bowled that full of length delivery. Wonderful bowling from Axis. He's one away from a second fifer, and I guess that wicket's just stopped Jimmy getting a farewell fifer here at the home of cricket. But England have been ruthless. I tell you what they've been this week, Aggers. I don't think I've seen an England Test match team catch as well as this team has caught this week. They've held on to everything. I know they're not under a huge amount of pressure in the game, and that sometimes adds to the emotional side of dropping catches because of the pressure of the situation. But pretty much from that first morning, the Harry Brook catch, the Ollie Pope catch at short cover point, Smith behind the stumps, Zach Crawley's caught a couple, Joe Root at first, Ben Duckett down on the boundary just there to get rid of Alzari Joseph. It's been a really good team performance overall, but catching has been excellent.
Yeah, they have been ruthless. And it'd be interesting. I don't think we get to speak to Brendan McCullum afterwards to ask if I certainly asked Ben Stokes, I think, about the pace at which they've played. There does seem to have been a bit more foot on the throat sort of approach yesterday, particularly. Whereas last year, the year before, we might have seen them try and score those runs really quickly, and all the shots that we've been thoroughly entertaining. But whether or not there has been just a slight tightening up of that approach.
Well, we know that. I mean, they're exciting to watch, but fundamentally to win big series, you can't just play in one gear.
No.
You've got to be able to go up and down in the gears, and of course you want to be aggressive if you possibly can, and stay aggressive and be on top and hit the ball to all parts. But against good bowlers, it's just not possible. And I thought Jamie Smith's innings was really nice because he showed the art of staying in when he first went out there, and he defended and he started to flourish, and then he played nicely with the tail and got a few boundaries. But I always look at players when they play in Test match, can you stay in, can you defend, because you're going to receive quite a few good balls against the better bowlers, and you've got to be able to block those good balls out. And if you can't do that, well, you can't get the big scores. So yeah, whether it's been a talk of the team about the way that they're going to play, but they've certainly played this week with a lot of sense.
So Atkinson, 1 wicket away from a second 5-wicket haul in this match, and he's bowling the number 11 Seales. Here he comes and bowls down the leg side, and Seales watches that go flying through to the keeper. So what a performance. 103 for 9, and needing just that 1 wicket to win this match.
Yeah, 11 for 86 in the match for Atkinson so far. If he can take 1 more wicket without conceding 20 runs, he'll have the 3rd best figures on debut in Test history, and the best for England. Only Narendra Hawani and Bob Massey, 16 wickets each on their Test debuts, would be better. As it is, he's currently 7th on the all-time list and 2nd best figures for England on debut after Fred Martin in 1890, 12 for 102.
Short leg crouching there now as Atkinson runs in hard. It's nicely played by Seales, though, standing up. So playing that really quite nonchalantly into the offside. 103 for 9. So our Reverend has gone, has he? The bowling vicar.
He had 11 for 96 in his one and only Test match at the Oval against West Indies in 1933.
What happened there, I wonder? There must be some sort of backstory to that, wasn't there? You take all those wickets. Perhaps had a service to give or something in the following Test match. It's really unlucky, isn't it? Get 11 wickets and get dropped. 103 for 9. Atkinson runs in, bowls to Seales, short outside the off stump. No bat offered to that. So he slips in conversation there. Where's Jimmy? He's there at mid-on. Hands behind his back. Sort of a typical Anderson between deliveries pose.
Yeah, the West Indies survived this ball. Jimmy's got a chance of getting the last wicket.
Seales waits. Atkinson runs in, bowls him down the leg side. So he has survived that over. Anderson's got his cap off. He's peeling off his sweater. Applause. Well, I think both for Atkinson and also for Anderson here. Applause for Atkinson at taking another wicket, but the crowd expected, they're willing Anderson here to take the last wicket of the match, which would be pretty perfectly script written, wouldn't it? It would be just the way that would be most fitting.
Well, if you actually think about, you know, some of the legends in recent years that have retired from English cricket, Alistair with his 100 at the Oval, Stewart last year getting the final wicket. It'd be so fitting if Jimmy can get this final wicket. I mean, the icing on the cake and the cherries would have been to get a fifer.
Yeah.
But can he just finish with the last wicket?
Well, Moti's not a bad batsman. He's doing all right. He's getting stuck in there. He's faced 18 balls for his 7 not out. So certainly no mug. And there might have been a temptation here for Stokes to put the field back and encourage Moti to take a single and get the number 11 down there. But that doesn't seem to be the case. There's quite a big gap in the offside. So there's a single there. Anderson's going to come round the wicket. Crowd behind him. Anderson round the wicket. Bowls and... Oh, he's dropped it! He's dropped his own caught and bowled chance. Oh, Jimmy! And it wasn't a hard one either. Oh, he's smiling. Oh, that was not a difficult caught and bowled chance at all. And Moti survives. It was just pitched up. Everyone's watching the replay on the screen. It's driven back at him. He went sort of one-handed at it, very casually one-handed.
I think it was a bit harder than... I don't think it was...
Oh, come on, they should have caught that. It goes Anderson again, bowls, and there's an inside edge this time. The ball runs out towards deep square leg. They've taken one, thinking about the second. Seals scampers down to this end. What's that, 8 out of 10?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Jimmy Anderson, so you expect him to catch it. I've just been saying on the television, we actually talk about his bowling. But for 21 years, he's been up there with England's best fielders. So he would have expected to catch that.
Oh,
it was a bit harder.
His face.
He went for the one-hander, didn't he? Just
well, yeah.
Hits his kind of thumb, the left hand.
Moti still on strike. Anderson bowls to him, turned away into the leg side. And Pope will field 105 for 9. Or he'll be reliving that in slow motion.
You go Ben Stokes, Paul Collingwood, Jimmy Anderson. I reckon over the last 21 years, they've been England's best fielders.
Oh. Well, he's walking back. He's putting sweat on the ball, giving it a polish, maybe for the last time. Come on, Jimmy, they're shouting. 3 balls left in this over. Round the wicket he goes. He's there and he bowls, and Moti drives him along the ground this time. Or rolls down to mid-off.
If you were Moti or Seals, you'd want to be Jimmy's last wicket, wouldn't you?
Well, it'll certainly be on YouTube for a few years.
Well, you could dine out on that forever.
Yeah. Which was the Australian that Fred got out for his 300th and he shook him by the hand as he walked off?
Was Neil Hawke?
Was it Neil Hawke? Fred congratulated him. $105 for 9. 2 balls left in the over. England need 1 wicket to win the game. Anderson round the wicket, bowls, and it's driven into the offside again. They'll come back at least for 2. He might even go for 4 this. Long chase out towards the boundary, and it has gone for 4. So he's not going to bowl at the number 11 in this over at least. 109 for 9. There was that chance.
Yeah, 1 ball to go for Jimmy in this over. Nice shot. This is a half volley, but he just managed to kind of open the blade and get it through extra cover. Nicely timed. Ben Stokes chasing after that. Big dive towards the boundary. He's looked very fit.
He has.
This week, the skipper.
You had your heart in your mouth when you watched him chase like that previously. Last ball of the over. Anderson is there now and he bowls, and Moti drives it, and Stokes has to run to his left this time, picks up and fields. And that's the end of the over. There was the chance. There was the chance. And he takes his cap and his sweater. Yeah, he's sort of semi-smiling. It's a rueful sort of a smile. I think this drop catch will be shown a few times in the coming days and weeks. It was what, chest high. It was quite straight. And Courton bowls, you know, you're a bit off balance and you're not necessarily expecting them, but oh, look, it's the way he's sunk to his knees. His hand in front of his face. 109 for 9. Atkinson then, after his second 5-wicket haul, and his first ball's driven nicely by Seals down the ground to mid-off, and they take a single. 110 for 9. Crowd expectant. Apparently they're being allowed on the field a couple of hours after the close, and they can watch Wimbledon apparently.
Is that right? Wow.
Yes. Yeah, up on the big screen.
Oh, there's so many young kids with little bats and balls that have a little knock on the hallowed turf.
Absolutely. 110 for 9. Atkinson moves in, bowls to Moti, a swipe and a miss. A ball that was short and hostile.
How many overs have we had today?
10?
Yeah, the final ball of the 35th now, which is the 10th over since.
The reason why I ask, I think if it's 15 overs and under, you get a full refund.
Yes.
30 and under, I think it's 50%.
But you speak to people, they say, "Oh, I just want to watch the cricket."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 110 for 9. In comes Atkinson, bowls outside the off stump. Another swish. This time to a wide short ball. Moti a bit cross with himself there for missing that. 110 for 9. England need 1 wicket to win. Atkinson needs 1 wicket for a second 5-fer. The truth is that everyone's really willing Anderson to take this final wicket of the game. 3 balls left. The number 11 is up at the striking end for Anderson as Atkinson it bowls outside the off stump, and that goes flying past an outstretched Brook at third slip. It was in the air as it went flying past quite quickly. And down to the boundary for 4 runs. 114 for 9.
Yeah, that leg slope that they've got, Ben Duckett positioned quite fine on the leg side. With the slope going down, I would have thought that kind of 4th fish slip would have been a better position.
Root returns his position at first slip. It was just out of range, wasn't it? That it was catchable height.
He goes through.
A bit of a hand on it.
Yeah, he could have caught that. I mean, it would have been a beautiful catch, but he certainly could have grabbed it.
Moti on strike. He's on 17 now. He steps away, gets a short ball. He's skied it. Can Anderson catch it? No, it comes down to ground just about 10 yards away from him as he chases out to the boundary, where he gets a big cheer anyway. $117 for 9. Proper lower order swipe that was to a short ball. Moti 19. 2 left in this over. Stokes might try and plug a gap or two, but not at the moment. Atkinson runs in. Moti swings that away over Anderson's head, and the ball again plugs rather as it hits the ground. Now, can Anderson stop them getting 3? That's the next question. He has done, although Moti was thinking about it. Another big cheer rings around Lords as Anderson throws the ball back again. 119 for 9. So here's the last ball. Can Stokes put 1 or 2 out, I wonder, after that slip cordon, just to plug a gap and keep the number 11 on strike? Doesn't appear to be. It's a short leg slip. So there's a lot of gaps here. Runs in, bowls, full, hit hard, a screaming off drive. And again, that was in the air when it flew past Stokes at mid-off. He really hammered that. That wasn't a bad shot at all. We've seen 1 or 2 unorthodox strokes from Moti. There was nothing wrong with this. He cleared his leg and absolutely thrashed that through mid-off. So the number 11 is on strike. Anderson's taking his cap and sweater off. Can he finish it off? Can chat with Stokes about the field. And Seals is left-handed. Wokes is coming over for a chat. Anderson working on the ball. Let's have a look what we've got here. There's a long leg. There's a man going out a deep square leg as well. Brook is somewhere in the leg side. He's wandering around a bit. He's a short mid-on. Quite an unusual position, that. Short, straight mid-on. I think Anderson's moving him around a bit. And towards mid-wicket a bit more. There's a mid-off. Big gap in the offside round to Gully. 2 slips. And there's a leg slip. 123 for 9. Anderson runs away now. And he bowls. And there's a big swish outside the off-stump and a miss. He's going to get a chance, I think.
Well, there's the one that goes away. There's the one that goes up the slope. I reckon he's eyeing up that one that just whips back into those pads.
I think he's setting him up.
Yeah, just to bowl one more away.
Come on, Jimmy. A shout again from below us. Anderson sets off again, bowls to Seals, who's driven him straight down the ground for 4. And that, I think, was the one that was designed to come into him, actually. That's a perfectly decent shot from the number 11. It's a half volley, certainly pitched up. But, very well put away. I suspect even when you've got 704 wickets to your name, in this situation, there is a danger that you go searching a bit. Desperate to get that last wicket. Let's complete the fairy tale ending. Round the wicket now, so a change. 4 balls remain in the over. Anderson runs in, bowls to Seals, who gets one that drifts away from him a little. They're going to pick up a single as he prods that away into the offside. Just 2 or 3 yards or so the ball travelled there. And so that brings Moti down. 128 for 9. Stokes directs the field. Well, Moti certainly has played a few shots in his innings so far. That will carry on. But Wokes dropping back at mid-on. There's a deep square leg. There's a fine leg. Again, Brook in this rather unusual position of short mid-on. Anderson runs in. He bowls to Moti, who turns that away into the leg side. There's a single. Number 11 back down on strike again. 2 balls remain in the over.
Yeah, I reckon Moti, he looks a good cricketer.
Does.
You know, his left arm spin was, you know, effective. He bowled a couple of beauties to get rid of Ben Stokes and Joe Root. And he's obviously just having a bit of fun with the batting hand, but he looks like he's a very handy cricketer. Right, Jimmy. 2 balls remaining.
Yep. Leg slips coming out. And coming out to square leg. 2 balls remain in the over. Seals is on strike. Anderson runs in round the wicket. Is there any bowls to him? And he's flicked away into the leg side. Duckett comes in from deep backward square leg. Can't take the catch. The ball bounces just in front of him. It was flicked in the air. For a moment there have been a few hearts in mouths. Just didn't quite carry. 130 for 9. One ball left in this over. Ball slowly makes its way back to Anderson. Sun trying to come out. Moti on 26. Waits as Anderson runs in for the last ball of this over. Is there now, and he bowls, and Moti's hit on the pad. There's an appeal for leg before wicket. He's not going to get that one, although 30,000 people joined in the appeal. Given not out by umpire. Tucker, there's a smile. And it's 130 for 9. So England just need that 1 wicket to win. Looking at the clock, I thought there might be a drinks interval there, but looks as if they're going to carry on. So it's interesting that both bowlers either end have got milestones to aim for.
They're not going to come off.
Well, they're not. I mean, what's Stokes going to do at some stage? You either take off Gus Atkinson, who's on the verge of his The second 5-wicket haul for the match, or you haul off Jimmy Anderson. I say, sorry, mate. Time to get someone else on. It's a tough call for the captain, because neither of them are going to relinquish that ball. Seales on strike. It's 130 for 9. Atkinson runs in the sunshine now and bowls. That's pulled away out into the leg side. I think, by the way, that Seales has been batting in this innings. He ought to go in number 4 at Trent Bridge.
Moti's the one, isn't he? He's playing all the shots now. Yeah. He's on 26 from 32 deliveries. You just get a sense that mid-on, mid-off, square leg on the boundary. They're the ones that might be getting a high steepling catch.
Moti on strike. Atkinson bowls him. He steps away. He did get an edge to that, but the ball's flown over Smith's head and into the boundary below us for 4. Stokes strokes his beard.
It means that Fred Martin's career best debut figures for England are safe. 12 for 102 he had in 1890 in the Ashes Test at the Oval. Atkinson's now 11 for 105 in the game.
Do you know what he bowled? What sort of bowler was he?
I think he was a quick bowler.
Yeah.
Slip's just gone to kind of 45 on the leg side, halfway back to the boundary.
135 for 9. Atkinson from the pavilion end moves in and bowls short ball quite straight. And Moti doesn't take this on. He's been having a go at the short stuff. He just defends this one.
He's playing a little bit on numbers, isn't he? Our friend Gurukesh Moti. Because every now and again he has a big yahoo, but then he'll get back into his defence. I reckon this is I think he's thinking aggressive now. He's blocked 1.
Exact number.
Yeah.
It's the first West Indian this match to reach 30.
Wow. 3 out of the leg side boundary, and there's a short leg as well. Atkinson scurries in, bowls, and he's hammered this into the offside. Didn't quite get hold of it. It stepped away again, a big swing of the bat. And Stokes is able to stop that. They take a run. 135 for 9. Seales is on strike, but for number 11 he's actually played rather well.
So the last England player to take 5 in both innings on debut was Kenneth Farnes in 1934 to Atkinson 7 and 4 so far.
I just wonder whether a slower ball on length.
Yeah.
Those little knuckle balls just get.
It's often good for a tail ender.
Yeah.
Atkinson runs in, bowls to Seales. It's full. He drives it. It's picked up by Stokes at mid-off.
Well, 1 ball to go. Gus Atkinson's over. Jimmy's going to get potentially another go.
Yeah. Just looking for the drinks bearers, and I guess they might be because they're behind the sight screen, I think. So there is going to be a break. Unless Atkinson gets a wicket with this ball. And he comes now, he's there and he bowls, and that's hit hard into the leg side. A fielder's out there. And takes the catch. Gus Atkinson finishes it with his second 5-wicket haul in the game. Ben Duckett took the catch out there at deep square leg. Just had to be a little bit mindful of the boundary. And it's all over. And England have won by an innings and 114 runs. And the players all shake hands. And just looking for Anderson. There he is. He's taking his cap off. Yeah, hugs and shaking of hands all round. Well, he had his moment. That chance, the chance did come for him to take the last wicket, and for that fairy tale ending. And the final shake of the hand for umpire Tucker, who will have seen many of James Anderson's wickets as well. His family are there. They know it's all over. It's a thumping win. And 1-0 up. There's 2 more games to go. The second starts at Trent Bridge on Thursday. For Jimmy Anderson, he'll walk off the field for the last time.
Yeah, that's been a tremendous display by the England side. It's been an emotional week. Jimmy will just walk towards the pavilion for one last time in an England jersey. We've seen so many great receptions for him all week, and he's going to get one huge one now.
Fully deserved and more. Can't be too often that someone would have taken 12 wickets in a test match and not get the chance to lead the team off the field. But when you've got someone like a Jimmy Anderson, 704 test match wickets, 21 years in the game, and someone who's almost part of the furniture of test cricket for a generation, it really is a moment when you want to say, I was there, Tuffers and Carlos Brathwaite, when we absorbed just the moment. Didn't get the wicket for the fairy tale farewell, even though he had the chance. But it takes nothing away, Tuffers, from his contribution to the game and what he means to English cricket.
Absolutely. I mean, an absolute bona fide legend of the game, isn't he, James Anderson? You know, the longevity, the skill, the sacrifice, the smiles, the highs, the lows, you know. As you say, part of the furniture. Love that. Like a big comfy sofa for English cricket he's been. You know, they've gone to him time and time again when the time, you know, when the going gets tough, he's always been there to bowl that spell when it's hurting in the sun or when it's not doing anything, you know, and the skipper needs something. Can just remember so many times when, you know, I've been up here and said, you know, Jimmy Anderson, another Jaffa from Jimmy Anderson. Very emotional day, be very emotional for him, but he's got the send-off he thoroughly deserves at Lord's.
And just looking at it again with the benefit of the replay, he was watching to see if that catch would be taken. And as soon as it was completed, you saw that wry smile on the face. But he was the first to embrace Gus Atkinson, Carlos, because, again, like anyone else, he would understand just when he would have come into the game in 2003 against Zimbabwe with that 5-wicket haul. As much as you contribute to the game, as much as you become part of the landscape of the game, it is a continuum, and it has come his time to pass that responsibility on to others like a Gus Atkinson.
Yeah, and that shows the selflessness of the man. And there have been many stories of him showing his selfless nature, bowling the tough overs, bowling the prolonged spells. And we know the Jimmy Anderson that swings it both ways with the new ball or the second new ball, but the stories about the Jimmy Anderson that takes it when nothing is happening and he bowls a 10, 12, 13, 14 over spell when he flies home and flies back to Australia, and he's sick and he wants to go and represent the badge on the shirt. It's those selfless moments that go under the radar sometimes, but in a moment like that, you have the opportunity, bowling at the other end, to have the perfect send-off, but you rather congratulate and salute someone who's making the debut, who's just gotten the second fiver. That speaks to the man himself, and it's difficult as a sportsman myself to see many players in the game who aren't good blokes who would last that long. So having been a part of the team for 21 years, not only you have to be a good player, but you have to be a good person. Regimes change, captains change, and if you are a virus in the dressing room, at some point in time you will be cut regardless of how good a player you are. So the 21 years and the 704 wickets speaks to the quality and the skill and the longevity of the man. I think that moment, running to Gus Atkinson and embracing and enjoying his success, speaks to the selflessness of the man.
And another thing as well, I was talking to Waggers about it, as we all have. And back in the day, you know, John used to be a swing bowler. If it didn't swing, it was kind of done for you, you know what I mean? People would just play through the line and on a flat pitch somehow. He's worked and worked wobble seam, reverse seam, you know, all these kind of things. Has always just been looking to just top up that skill level right till the end. And I think that he's almost changed the art of swing bowling, that you can still play a big role in the game when it's not swinging for you. You can still bowl those hard overs and get wickets, even when it's flat, even when the ball's just going straight out of the hand. He devised ways and thought about ways and upskilled himself virtually day after day after day and learned. And I think that's a big part of it as well. You know, that wobble seam and everything was an absolute, you know, just was a captain's dream.
Absolutely. And just in case you've just joined us, maybe you had a bit of work this morning and were hoping to catch the action before the end. Well, it's all over with the West Indies dismissed and England winning by 114 runs. The West Indies 136 in their second innings, starting the day at 79 for 6. 5 wickets, a second fiver in the match for Gus Atkinson, and Jimmy Anderson missing out on the chance to get a wicket to end his career off the final ball because he missed a caught and bowled attempt offered by Gudikesha Moti, and in the end it was Moti who was the top scorer for the West Indies, the only West Indies batter to get beyond 30 in the entire test match. But even as the message on the screen says Jimmy Anderson the greatest, you know there's going to be all sorts of discussion, and with the benefit of time and context, you put it into the context as to who's greater than whom and so on. But again, you talk, Tuffers, about the impact he would have had on the game, and the varieties and the wobble seam and so many different elements. And it's really now for the likes of Atkinson and others, and that role that he's going to be playing now, Jimmy, as mentor to the England team, to ensure that they build on this tremendous legacy.
Well, absolutely, and what a mentor to have. I mean, crikey, O'Reilly, you know, one of the best there's ever been. I think only Shane Warne and Mullarithan are in front of him, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he has a little breather or whether we see him at Trent Bridge. I mean, I'd be looking to have a little bit of a breather, I think, and perhaps a party. But I can see him turning up at Trent Bridge with the tracksuit on, and what a mentor to have for these young fellas now. Big opportunity for them, the likes of Stuart Broad's now gone. I mean, these two, and Jimmy Anderson, these two places were signed and sealed for 10, 15 years. So that's now gone, and you've still got the likes of these guys in the dressing room giving back, imparting their skills to these youngsters, and they just must soak everything up, because you're not going to get a bloke to listen to.
And Carlos, just give me a sense of that, because if we could probably use a West Indies context, you think of the time of Walsh and Ambrose, and as they went out, Curtly Ambrose ended his career here in 2000. The first time the West Indies would have lost the series to England since 1969 in England. And then just a year and a bit later, Courtney Walsh went out with the home series against South Africa in 2001. And therefore, when a team loses outstanding players and who would have been really part of that team for such a long period of time, it must be a challenge for those stepping up, because they'll be automatically measured by what the legend would have achieved over so many years.
Yeah, and I think it's parallel, to be fair. The way you just described it, Broad finishing last summer, Jimmy finishing this summer, exactly the same. But I think the difference between what happened in West Indies years ago and what's happening now is that England has planned a little bit better for the departure of Broad, for the departure of Jimmy Anderson. And we don't know, we could sit here 5 years from now and still not having found two players to replace them, whether it's individual brilliance or a partnership like they had, one being a swing, one being a seam bowler. But they have planned a little bit better. So I think in the West Indies, we all of a sudden automatically assume that two players would have just stood up. I distinctly remember Mervyn Dillon almost being passed the baton, much like a Gus Atkinson being passed the baton today. But if we cast some minds further back, I think everyone in England thought Chris Woakes would have been the person to take over from Jimmy Anderson. Now at 35, how long does he have to go? He's had a little trouble with injury. So you can plan, but it's the old cliche about cricket being a game of glorious uncertainties. Injury plays a part, form plays a part, who's the next cab off the rank. I'm sure there was plans enough for Jofra Archer to be the one accompanying Broad and Anderson as they have their swan song, and he's not playing Test cricket at the moment. So will the bodies hold up for Test cricket? I think the planning is better, and I can salute the ECB for trying to plan in their absence before they leave, but you can never ever tell who will step up, if someone will step up, if there will be a little bit of a void. There is a little bit of luck needed, and we'll see over the course of the next few tests if that appointment is in the dressing room or beyond.
Well, there's going to be a lot of appreciation of the impact of Jimmy Anderson in his final test match with England winning by an innings and 114 runs. The West Indies dismissed this morning for 136 after resuming at 79 for 6. 5 wickets for Gus Atkinson, 12 wickets in the match for him, and Jimmy Anderson's farewell, not stealing the thunder, but making a statement in his own right on passing that baton in the bowling department for English cricket. Aggers is out there to soak it all in as he was up here with us for the final moments of the match itself. Take it away, Aggers.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Fazio. Down in front of the pavilion, it's always such a privilege to be down here at the end of a test match. Full house, of course, and, well, I don't know how people will be feeling about it. They've seen, obviously, Jimmy Anderson's last day of Test cricket, but it still ended very prematurely today, and of course so is the match. It's not even actually halfway through. So anyway, it's a lovely atmosphere. However, I can see James Anderson's family down there, his dad who came on the radio yesterday, his wife and 2 daughters, they're gathered over there. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. You never really do know at the end of these games what order things will happen, but we'll certainly speak to the 2 captains. The man of the match, who I guess will be Gus Atkinson, 12 for 106 on his debut, and hopefully we'll get a word with Jimmy Anderson as well at the end of his final test match. We've got Alistair and Michael down here. Well, there it is. It's and I say that in sort of 2 senses, really. There it is, that's the end of Jimmy Anderson, and there it is, end of the game, and so we're not even halfway through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an emotional week, and I think Jimmy's coped with the playing side brilliantly. He's just a genius with the ball in hand. I mean, me and Cookie have just had a chat. I think he's going to hate this. This bit now where he's going to have to talk about, obviously, his career, saying farewell to 30,000 people here, millions watching and listening at home. Jimmy Anderson is so comfortable out there playing cricket.
Yeah.
Where he's not as comfortable, he's talking about himself. I think he's going to be absolutely great talking about cricket in the future and doing whatever he's going to do, but he's such a shy, humble person that this now, for the next 45 minutes, over the 21 years that he's represented England in a Test jersey, I think this is going to be his worst moment.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I mean, you know his family very well, Alistair, don't you? There they all are. I mean, it'll have sunk in too, as Michael was saying yesterday. I mean, it's the end for them as well.
And the change of life, really. They're so used to Jimmy flying off here, being James Anderson, the great bowler, watching from TV, going to games, schedule, that kind of stuff. That just goes in it. Today, that's gone. The James Anderson, you don't know where he's going to be in one sense. It's not, all you had to do is look at an England fixture and realise he'll be a part of it for the last 20 years. So it does take some time. But
I've got a bit of breaking news. Apparently, he's in the dressing room having a pint of Guinness.
Well,
he deserves it. I think he does.
My experience of working with Jimmy at functions is that actually he does function better after a pint. So we'll see how he goes. Well, that's rather nice thought, actually, isn't it? It's the sort of thing Fred Truman might have done. He'd have got his pipe out and a pint at the end of a stint. So yeah, the dressing room door is half open at the moment, and I don't know what's going on in there. But still, do you think he'll turn up next week? I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Do you think he'll start his new role straight away?
I don't think I would. I would like that week away, just because this emotional roller coaster he's been on this week. Remember, most people retire either kicked out of the team and it's not your choice, or it's a day before done, at max a week. This has been built up for Jimmy for 2.5 months, ever since that hotel meeting. And let's not forget, every day he could have pulled a calf in training.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could have last week he bowled beautifully at was it
Southport, yeah.
Southport. He was playing and he could have missed this. So like actually just get through this week with all the anxiety, the stress, the injuries, all that kind of stuff. He's bowled beautifully. I would get away, go and enjoy the fact. Actually look back at some of those articles which people have written, which he won't have looked at. That's not what Jimmy does, but take that time to go and read some of the stuff where his achievements, like where he ranks in the game. You have to do that because. But he will be, in his eyes, he's been given a role to do to mentor the next bowlers in, and who's going to replace him in the next game is a question that obviously the selectors need to go over. But the advice he's got is his knowledge fundamentally about how to bowl. Those little subtle variations, all that stuff. He'll now feel a lot, I think, more comfortable to pass that on. I think it's very hard passing on that kind of information when you're still playing because you've still got to go and back it up. When you don't have to back it up anymore and you can really pay attention to it, I think he'll be invaluable that side. But I would go away for a week, but that's not Jimmy's style. He'll be straight in there, I believe, next week up at Trent Bridge, kicking the ball around and taking the mitt.
How do you think Chris Woakes feels? Because we didn't really have bowling captains when I was playing. It's more of a modern thing, isn't it? But the sort of the leader of the pack, I guess, would sort of fall to him now as the most experienced bowler.
I think he'll be quite looking forward to it. I thought we saw a huge development in Chris Woakes' bowling when, in the one-day side, he took the new ball when Broad and Anderson finished in 2015 and he stepped up. And we saw a real step up in Chris Woakes' performance because up until that kind of period, he was kind of always on the outside of both Test and one-day teams, always, unfortunately, behind those two great bowlers. But actually, it's amazing when you kind of free people off that and you give him a bit of responsibility. He's a very experienced cricketer and in English conditions, a very fine cricketer. So I think he'll quite enjoy doing that. But with that is that responsibility of, as I'm saying, because when you played with Jimmy or you played with Broady, they're so good at assessing those conditions so early on. Right, we're not going to swing it today. They didn't swing in the first innings at Lords. They all went to heavy wobble seam, and that would only be from Jimmy telling him that straight away. Mate, you can swing it, but I felt more threatening. Now, if someone's telling you that you're going to do it. Gus Atkinson, well, that's easy. I'm standing at what do I bowl? You've got James Anderson telling you what to do it. You just got to go and do it. That falls down to Chris Woakes, but you've got to get those decisions right, and 9.5 times out of 10, Jimmy did that. So that will be down to Chris Woakes to do that.
See, Marcus Trescothick's got a pint of Guinness as well. It seems to be the sort of the done thing up there. He's on the balcony at the moment. So anyway, well, there's some sort of celebrations anyway taking place up there. I guess they'll be carrying on all day. There'll be a full evening, and it's just they've got time to do that now. We're still waiting for some activity down here in terms of interviews and so on, but the crowd are waiting patiently. The members here standing predominantly, waiting for. Well, we'll get the reaction of the West Indians too. Of course, they've lost here by an innings and 114 runs. They've got a lot to do before everything moves on to Trent Bridge for Thursday's start in the second Test match. I wouldn't really fancy being in their shoes, really, and the coach and so on. I mean, they've got a lot to digest for this match.
They have. They've got to find some way of whether it's putting their stamp on this team, certainly with the bat. We spoke last night at the end of the game about at the end of the day. Actually, technically, they look quite solid. Yeah. No, you're not looking at all these players. Certainly not. The first time I've seen a couple of these bat and looking, going, they're horribly out of place. But what we said is they didn't seem to throw a punch with the bat. Sorry, there's nothing. You're not looking there. You're not fearful. I think times you used to bowl at West Indian cricketers, and you got it wrong, and you were punished massively. Now, look, that was obviously down to how good some of those players were. They were great to the game, but I watched there. That was quite a timid batting display. Not easy, inexperienced, yes, but they can't fall into that too much of an excuse. They've got to find a way of battling back, throw a punch back at this England bowling lineup. Yesterday, England bowled superbly, though. You have to say that was unrelentingly good bowling. They will be better with the ball, I think, at Trent Bridge. Not an easy place to bowl, Lords, and that's where their talent lies, really, with the ball. And I expect a better bowling performance from them. But if you're getting bowled out for 130 and 120. You're not winning any games of cricket. So that's what they're going to have to find some way of getting a score on. We said it before the game. It's obvious, very obvious.
Things are starting to happen here. I think, was that a 3-minute warning we had?
Well, I just saw Danny Rubin, who's in his 100th Test match, which we had. He's just given it the 3 fingers from the balcony. I think it's meaning 3 minutes and we'll be down there.
Not quite sure what Hussein meant, whether he gave 3 fingers here once.
I think they're on the second pint, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we're just waiting for things to happen. Of course, we'll bring them here, but I think the West Indians are feeling a bit delayed as well at the moment. But if you're just tuning in, England have won. You'll have gathered that. They've won by an innings on 114 runs. Gus Atkinson has taken his second 5-wicket haul. He's taken 12 wickets in this match in all. I'm expecting him, surely he'll be the man of the match, I'd imagine, for a performance like that in your first Test match. You've got 1 or 2 of the West Indians seem to be heading off for coaching or some into the nets or something or other. And Andy, have you been sort of fishing through some more stats?
Yeah, I guess to try and tell the story of Anderson's career, which is an extraordinary tale of improvement from a difficult beginning. Obviously, he had a fine start here against Zimbabwe in 2003. But then over the next sort of 4 or 5 years, he was in and out of the side, had injuries. After 20 tests at the end of the Sri Lanka series in December 2007, when he got a fearful flaying and was dropped from the team. He had 62 wickets, averaged just under 40, and had gone at 3.7 per over. Then we saw some improvement. He came back in the team in New Zealand, replacing Matthew Hoggard. Over the next couple of years, up to the end of the South Africa series in 29-10, 94 wickets in 26 tests, averaged just under 32. That economy had come down to 3.2. Then over the next 4 and a bit years, up to the end of the India series in 2014, much improved, 224 wickets at 26.1 and an economy of just under 2.8. Now that winter, he played in the World Cup. It was a bad campaign for England, and that was the end of his one-day international career. Thereafter, just focusing entirely on Test cricket and also having the extra rest of only being a one-format player. In his next 80 tests up to February 2023, 305 tests, averaged 21.3, an extraordinary economy rate of 2.4 per over in an era when broadly run scoring was much quicker than it had been through Test history. A slight drop off over the last year or so, though a good game to finish with here. But it's an extraordinary tale of personal striving for improvement that you've been talking about over the last few days during this game, constantly expanding the range of skills he has, and particularly away from home. His first 17 tests away from home up to 2009, he averaged 45. His next 45 up to from 2010 to 2018, he averaged 29.3. Since 2019, 20 tests away from home, he's averaged 20.7 runs per wicket and gone at 2.3 per over. So it really is at an age when historically most bowlers wouldn't have played in, more aided by central contracts, and as I said, not having that workload of bowling much outside Test cricket. He has just continued to improve and establish himself as one of the finest bowlers in Test cricket history.
Thank you, Andy. That's terrific. I'm staring at an old friend of mine, current president, soon to be chairman of MCC, Mark Nicholas. It's lovely to see you here, Mark.
Thanks, Angus. Great to be here.
Now, what have you got? You've got a little collection of the things you're giving to Jim.
Who's an MCC member, has made a beautiful deep green decanter marked by the England colours and also MCC colours, and then engraved on the top, on the stopper, if you like, of the decanter, marking the occasion of Jimmy's last Test. Then we're giving him this black box here with the MCC ribbon round it. Is a box full of all the scorecards of all the Test matches he's played here. Which is quite fun. Yeah, that's really fun, isn't it? And then I shouldn't be saying this because I'm revealing a secret that nobody knows. But given this is going to happen in a minute, there's a few million people will get it before Jimmy will. But he's the first current player, because we can still call him a current player, to receive honorary life membership of MCC. So it's a nice little collection for him.
No, it's brilliant. It has been a great occasion, hasn't it? I mean, and for Lords to stage it as well.
Only cricket can do this. Last night everybody was down, thinking the low point is the fact there won't be any play tomorrow by half an hour, and who would come, and would the ground even be half full. The ground is heaving full. The jeopardy was there all morning. There was no noir about it. It was fun and enjoyment. Jimmy produced, Gus Atkinson produced. We've got Ed Atkinson, his dad, up in the box, and they acknowledged each other. He raised his glass to his son, and his son held up the ball. Oh, it's a beautiful moment. And Ed had a terrible problem with his teeth yesterday, and has had to have a proper surgery on it. And he's here in pain to watch his son. I mean, it's magnificent.
Well, that's what being a parent of a sporting child's all about, isn't it? And I haven't seen you since you've assumed this role. Are you enjoying your reign?
Yeah, I mean, the best bit is hosting this box during the Test match, because you get interesting guests, and it's been a lot of fun. So I feel a bit short-changed that it's all finished early. But no, it's great. It's great. It's a great honour, and I think the chairman will be more like hard work, and the presidency is a bit more ambassadorial.
Thanks, Douglas, Mark. And enjoy the presentation. I'm sure it's Mark Nicholas, the current president of MCC, and soon to be chairman. Once he hands that role over, he's going to be chairman of this famous club too. So that's what's going to happen. Clearly the presentation will take place at some stage. I think the 3-minute warning seems to have come and gone.
I think it might have been 3 hours.
It might have been. There doesn't seem to be any movement at all from up there. We're just waiting. Now here's a sign, because the England security officer has appeared now on the boundary edge here. So that, I think, I'm taking as being a sign of something happening imminently, and the photographer's waiting and all of that sort of a thing as we wait for... It's normally after the first Test match, to be honest. Normally quite a quiet affair, and the two captains come out and the man of the match, and it's a quick knock-off and off you go. But that's not the case today. So here we do have movement now. We've got Craig Brathwaite coming down, and we've got Ben Stokes, we've got Gus Atkinson. So that confirms that he will be the man of the match. And let's see if Craig will come and talk first. Here he comes. Hello, Craig. Thanks for coming and talking to us. It's good. Disappointing, I suppose, a bit of an understatement.
Yeah, obviously, quite disappointing. But we know where we pretty much fell short, and we just got to get better.
Yeah. What can you take away from it? I mean, the next Test match obviously starting next week.
I mean, one positive is that we got 10 wickets, so we could take that. Probably 50-60 runs, too many, in my opinion. But I mean, that was a positive. Obviously, batting wise, we didn't do what we know we can.
Yeah. Do you blame lack of preparation? I mean, I'm not blaming you for that, but just the way that the calendar is, and to come and play a Test match like this with just one 3-day game of preparation, is that adequate?
I mean, I won't blame it, to be honest. I think we had some good days of good preparation. I mean, 1 3-day game, I can't complain, to be honest. I mean, yeah, 1 or 2 more would have been better, but I still think we were in a good place, and we just didn't do what we had to do this game.
And what about all the sideshow as well? Is it been a bit difficult to focus on actually what you've got to do? I mean, Jimmy Anderson's coming down the steps again now. It's just been like the Jimmy Anderson show, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as an international cricketer, that's pretty much part of it. So, you've got to get accustomed to it, basically.
It's coming out. It's getting award. Craig, thank you for talking to us. We'll see you at Trent Bridge. Thank you very much indeed. And so it looks as if, yes, Jimmy Anderson. I don't think I've ever seen the president of MCC give a player a hug before. It's unusual, but anyway, that's what's happened there. So he's getting his very nice looking decanter. Is he a red wine drinker? I think he is, isn't he?
I don't think he minds a glass of red wine.
I think that'll be going into there. It's a beautiful thing, and the box that contains all of the scorecards of the Test matches he's played here at Lord's. That's a nice little prezi, and life membership of the MCC, the only current player to be awarded it. Crowd cheering as that presentation is made. I'm not sure when we'll get the chance to speak to Jimmy. I'm just looking now for Danny Rubin, who's the press officer, and looking to see when we'll get that. I mean, actually, by Danny's 100th Test, I might have to interview him. But I think that's unlikely. But so Anderson, he's got his arms folded. He's gone back to join the rest of the team who are standing on the boundary edge here. And still the applause rings around Lord's, and he'll be giving an interview at some stage. We will talk to him. And first of all, though, I've got the England skipper striding out in my direction. Hello, Ben. This is quite something, isn't it? It's a remarkable atmosphere.
Yeah, very good. Rightfully so. Obviously, a lot of people, turned up here obviously to watch us play, but also to, send Jimmy off in the way that he deserves. Look, we weren't quite banking on it finishing on day 3, but still amazing crowd to send off. One of the goats of English cricket.
I was just wondering what you were going to do around about 12 o'clock, because you've got a bowler one end going for his second fifer. You've got Jimmy Anderson trying to get the last wicket of the match. They've been bowling for an hour. I'm wondering, will Stokes, which one's going to take off?
Yeah, well, it was one of those where we had, young Gus Atkinson on debut with a chance for getting 10 for, and Jimmy in his last game. So all things are possible there. It would have been an amazing end for Jimmy to, take that last wicket and almost emulate, his great mate Stuart Broad. But the one positive out of himself dropping that catch is that no one will ever lose sleep over the fact that they dropped it. So he's only got himself to blame.
That is very true. It's quite hard to tell from up there, but out of 10, it didn't look a terribly hard one.
No, it's one of those where as a bowler, when a ball comes back to you and you get done for lack of pace, that's completely what. I mean, I said to him walking back there, I said, how many times in your career have you done that? Pulled off a specky off your own bowler. But yeah, he definitely got done by the lack of pace.
Gus Atkinson, what a start!
Unbelievable. Gus. First time I seen him live was out in India in the 50 over World Cup. Obviously seen a lot of him on TV, playing in the 100, and then watched him operate out of the World Cup, and then obviously with us in India. And everything that I saw from him was so exciting. He came into the England setup with a lot of promise around his pace, but when you observe someone, you get an understanding, especially like Gus said, he's just more than out-and-out pace. He's a very, very skillful bowler. He was able to use a slope to his advantage this week, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Someone who can run in and bowl as quickly as he can, but also have the skill set he does, is something that me and Brendan both saw out in India. And to watch him come out and operate in the way they did this week, his ceiling is so high. And, well, there you go, man of the match and debut. And also Jamie Smith, how good has it seen two lads on debut perform really well?
A near perfect performance as far as England's concerned?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we've obviously dominated the game, I feel, bowling them out on day one and then going on and putting on a very big lead and then, winning by an innings. But we had to work really hard for that. We went through periods where we had to sort of make things happen with the ball because it wasn't necessarily offering, too much off the pitch or in the air. So, very, very pleased with how we started the Test summer.
I'm going to move you to one side, Ben, because the man of the moment's behind you. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
See you later. Right, Jimmy. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I'm a bit overwhelmed, actually. I've been overwhelmed all week by the response that I've got from the crowd every time I've walked on the field. Yeah. Walking to the ground. The players as well have been amazing in the dressing room. It's obviously... It just feels really special. Special to win the last Test match, to actually contribute as well. Happily got a couple of top order batters out in the second innings. Would have been nice to hold on to that catch, but...
Yeah, go on. Talk with. You'll be waking up in the middle of the night with that, won't you?
No, I don't think so. No. But no, I don't know. Obviously, looking back, I should have got two hands to it, but I thought it was an awkward height. Try and get one hand on it. Just didn't stick, unfortunately. No. But just happy we got the win. Buzzing for Gus. Gus has been around the group for a while now, and he came to India, didn't play a game, worked really hard on his run-up, and to see him sort of go out there and perform the way he did this week, I think it's amazing. It was brilliant to stand at mid-off and watch someone bowl fast and accurate and get the wickets he deserved.
Yeah. Has it been quite tough emotionally? Daughters are ringing the bell there. I thought I saw a little bit of eye flickering. Was that a bit of a lump in the throat?
Oh yeah, I've been using hay fever as the excuse all week, but there's been a few moments where it's been quite emotional. Them ringing the bell, walking out this morning with the two teams lined up again was pretty emotional. When I ran in to bowl my first ball, I got to the crease and thought, oh God, I've actually got to bowl the ball. Hadn't even thought about where I was going to bowl it or anything like that. I was just sort of in a daze almost. But yeah, it was just amazing to get another wicket today for people that have come to see Lord's full like it has been for 3 days, to play the way we did as well. And you know, it was a very dominant performance, and I'm sure there'll be a lot talked about that. But we had to work really hard for it. It was a pretty placid wicket for the bowlers, and we had to run in hard and to get anything out of it. So yeah, we're just really happy we got the win.
And I don't think Don Bradman ever got an ovation like that when he walked out to bat. What did that feel like?
Oh, I don't remember that. You'll remember that. I don't. Yeah, it was incredible. I think even walking out to bat, gutted I didn't get a chance to play one more reverse sweep, but
we were waiting for it.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, as I said, it's been quite overwhelming to see the reaction of people this week. You know, I didn't really expect it, or, you know, you don't think that as an individual or as a player that you deserve that or expect, or you certainly don't expect it. So it's been incredible, really. And
how are you going to come down from it? How are you going to reflect on, I don't know, when you got there or you go out tonight or whatever? How are you going to? How long is it going to take to get over it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to know. I've never retired before, so it's hard to know how you're going to think about things or how you're going to feel. I think it's good that I get to stay with the group for the rest of the summer, try and help the bowling group out the best I can. We've got some really good, talented young bowlers that I think can definitely have a great career at this level. So that's my job for the rest of the summer, certainly, is to try and help them. So at least I'm not going cold turkey and missing the dressing room too much. So I think that'll be good for me.
You'll turn up next week as consultant.
Yeah, I'll be at Trent Bridge next week. But yeah, I think at some point I'll sit down and sort of try and reflect on not just this week, but my whole career, because I guess I've never really done that. I've never really sat down and thought about what I've achieved. You're always thinking about the next series or the next game. So it'd be nice to just sit down and reflect on things.
That's the last one. Your dad came on and spoke from the radio the other day, which was really nice. Actually, he was on good form. But we sort of forget about the families, don't you? When you've given so much time, and you've been allowed to have so much time, and being a professional sportsman, doing what I do, is quite a selfish job, really, you know. But to see them all here, it's a really nice reminder of what is there in the background and the support that you've had.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone can play Test cricket for a long period of time without having that support network behind them. You know, whether it's parents that get you into the game in the first place and drive you around as a kid, whether it's your family at home, when you know, going on tour and being away for long periods of time, it can be tough at times. But certainly for me, without that support, I wouldn't have achieved what I have. I wouldn't have played for as long as I have. And I think that's one thing that I'm happy about this week, is that they got, you know, we talk about creating memories as a team, creating memories as an individual. But for them to be able to create some memories this week, my girls ringing the bell on day one, things like that, I think it's just really special for them, because they've been just as big a part of this as I have.
Well, we've all thoroughly enjoyed it, Jimmy. We've enjoyed the 21 years of watching you bowl. Thank you, on behalf of everyone listening, for what you've done for English cricket. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the day. We'll see you at Trent Bridge. There we go. Oh, I know, well, he hung on pretty well.
Spoke beautifully, didn't he, actually? Probably best he's ever spoken. I just had 2 seconds with him before, and I said, "You're going to hate this." He said, "Yes," but actually, I think he actually handled that brilliantly.
He's giving his mum a hug now.
And spoke really, really well. I think he has had a couple of beers, so I think he, as you said, he needs it.
It does help.
Just oil up. But what an achievement! And the fact that actually look around now, no one's left. No one has left, and you know, normally most presentations, there's at best half the crowd are still here, but this is their opportunity to stay for Jimmy. I know it's a long time ago that we used to play together, and you kind of look back. I'm talking about selfish, and look back now, and you just see how many times I stood at first to watch him bowl, and just the skill set he has. His skill set is just phenomenal. It's amazing.
Here's a man of the match, clutching a very nice bottle of champagne. Gus, nice to see you, and congratulations. Wow, I mean, that's a bit of a dream, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it hasn't really sunk in yet. The whole occasion's been incredible, and to take 5 for, 7 for, and 5 for is incredible.
Yeah. Second ball, I mean, it's such a relief, isn't it, to get an early wicket in your first Test match like that. I mean, it doesn't matter how you get it, it's just to get yourself going. That must have helped.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty happy with the first ball that I got in a decent area, and then the second ball wasn't quite where I wanted to go, but I got the wicket. So yeah, as you said, a big relief.
Yeah. I mean, the sideshow still going on all around, and yet you've managed to focus on what you do. You'll be pleased about that.
Yeah, it's helped, I think. Not much of the focus on me and the debutants, and more on Jimmy. So it was quite nice just to go about my business and try to do what I do, and thankfully it went well.
Yeah. Has it felt like a contest, probably the wrong way of putting it, but I mean, with Jimmy going, there's a big vacancy there, and they've picked a squad with a number of quick bowlers in it. You've had the first go at it, and you've got all these wickets. That's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't really thought of it like that, to be honest. I mean, I'm not sure anyone can replicate what Jimmy's done, but yeah, it's been a great week and a great opportunity that I've had, and I'm thankful that I've come away with it quite well.
Yeah. What have you learned from him?
I think you can sort of watch him and learn quite a lot, just the way he goes about the game. He's so chilled. Sometimes, I'm a bit up and about in the morning, too switched on too early, whereas Jimmy, he's quite relaxed. He's been there, done that. So just sort of, being relaxed.
And technically?
Technically, I think I haven't really tapped into it too much. Hopefully now with his role around the team,
perfect, isn't it?
It's perfect. I mean, I don't want to bother him too much when he's going about his bowling and whatever. But now that he's solely focusing on the coaching aspect of the game, I'm looking forward to tapping into his knowledge.
Enjoy it. Well bowled. Good to see. Right, well done. What a debut that is. And Gus Atkinson, who took another 5 wickets to go with his 7 that he took in the second innings. So we're about done, and here's one or two things going on that we've heard from the captains. We've got the vice captain coming over, have we? Ollie Pope's on his way over. Let's have a look.
Sir?
Sir. Hello, Ollie. Well, there you go. I mean, what's it been like, all of this?
Yeah, it's been class. I think from the moment the game started, I know it's been Jimmy's week, but I think the whole week in general was very special, watching the way Gus bowled, and just loved every bit of it.
Yeah. What was going on? You were a long time in the dressing room up there before coming out. What was going on?
Jimmy was too busy chatting to Sky again. But no, he was just we were just sort of enjoying a little 10 minutes, I think, and then having one Guinness and then coming down. But no, it's class.
Does it feel like a bit of an end of an era?
Oh, absolutely. It's felt. I mean, I think it's always been penciled in for a while now. I've been lucky enough to play a fair bit with Jimmy, and it would be so different without him walking out and taking the new ball. And it obviously is an end of an era, and everyone knows that, and that's why there's still 30,000 people left at Lords. But no, it's an exciting time. Obviously, Gus has started perfectly, so an exciting time for some new people to come through.
I didn't get the chance to ask Ben because Jimmy appeared, but what a difference it makes to see Ben Stokes running in and bowling like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you look at the balance of the team. I mean, Bash wasn't even required to bowl this week, and and he's been bowling lovely as well. So that's a good place for the team to be. But the way Stokesy bowled, you know what he's got with the bat, you know what he's got with the ball. But now he can bowl 9-10 over spells. It makes such a big difference.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the second day yesterday? And you might hate this question, but because the fateful word of Bazball comes up. But it just seemed as if there was a slight relaxing of that, and it was kind of a nailing the situation down rather than any sort of frenetic over-attacking that we might have seen in the past?
Yeah, I think what we spoke about after India was kind of like that. We've liked to do that in the past. It's not always seemed that way, but we talk a bit about absorbing pressure, but I think now it feels like the team's ready to really kick on. Obviously a few new guys coming in, but at the same time, when Baz and Stokesy took over, I guess I was coming into that number 3 role for the first time. Ducky was coming in, Crawley was finding his feet at the top of the order, Brookie's now in, so I guess now it's sort of time to really go to the next level, hopefully, as a team. And I think, like you said about yesterday, they're drilling home and driving home situations like that, the exact way we want to go about that kind of thing, and that will make us an even better team than we are.
Brilliant. Nice to talk to you, Ollie.
Cheers.
See you soon. Ollie Pope, England's vice-captain, of course, and there we go. So, Cookie, gazing away there, let's time to draw the curtain on this. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Talking to someone like Ollie Pope there, yeah, it's the end. But also, I was interested in what he said there about the sort of new approach, nailing things down.
Well, I think we've got to go back to the beginning of this era. Remember where this side started, which was 1 from 17, and they needed something. They needed something to reboot the side. They rebooted by going ultra positive. The Bazball era, as we talk about ultra positive, that freed up the minds of some players who had been underachieving at Test cricket. Now it feels like that's kind of gone. These players have found their feet, or they need to find their feet. They have found their feet. They've got 30 games under their belt, 40 games. It's time for them to really kick on. Not average 35, average 45, big hundreds, and that is what that's certainly the batting lineup needs to do. And I think they've recognised it. Stokesy said you can't keep doing the same thing. You've got to push on, got to keep evolving. And I think that's where this side is now. It's now are those players, the ones they've constantly backed, good enough to do it. And Jamie Smith, I think, going to add something to this batting line this summer. They've got a great summer because, without being harsh to both West Indies and Sri Lanka, they're not the elite of international cricket. So the opportunity to do that, they're not getting put under the same pressure like Hazelwood, Stark, Cummings, where their techniques will be examined totally. So it's a good summer to do it. But I like what they're talking about. There will be times where they can go the Bazball era a bit, but actually to be a great side, you have to be able to play the situation. We've always spoken about it the last 2 years. Feels like they've learned their lesson a bit from it and been open, not just saying, we'll chase 700.
No, absolutely. I was quite surprised that he revealed that, actually.
I thought he spoke great, and you're starting to feel that the messaging is becoming a bit more mature. I felt at times in the last couple of years it's just been a little bit of fun and games, and they've almost been having a laugh. I just think with this team, you look at Zach and Ben at the top, they're quite experienced now as a pair, that's great. Ollie at number 3 settled in nicely. Then you've got Joe Root, England's finest. Then you've got Harry Brook, Ben Stokes, James. That top 7 looks absolutely rock solid. And not just for this year, it's for a few years. I've still got 3 or 4 more years left in it. There's always going to be changes because that's the nature of playing at this level. But that looks a nice top 7 to work with going forward. And then it's just about this bowling attack, and that's really why Jimmy Anderson's been moved to one side. And actually, Tommy Banks, the chef this morning, we had a lovely breakfast with him. And he said, I just don't get it. He said, you got Chris Woakes. He doesn't get on a plane and play Test cricket. And Chris Woakes is carrying on. Why can't Jimmy carry on? And it was the first time I went, it's quite a good point, but I completely understand what this team are trying to do. They're trying to look towards next year. This summer, I think it'll be a summer where they should dominate, but I hope they dominate in a ruthless sense of playing like they've done this week. Because, of course, there was flamboyancy at times with the bat. They've got wonderful stroke players. But there was also times when they had solid defence and they read the situation nicely. And this West Indies side, they'll challenge them at times, I'm sure, over the course of the next 2 Test matches because they've got decent bowlers. But over the course of this summer, the goal for this team, I think they've got to win another 5 Test matches this summer. Win all 6, then go overseas and keep building on that. And then it'll all be about, can they keep this group of players together for the big year in 2025?
Lovely. Thanks, you two. It's been very special being down here, I must say, for all of this. Jimmy Anderson's giving another interview there. His family are watching. The England team standing just on the boundary edge, a few yards to my right. And the crowd absolutely just transfixed, standing, listening, and watching Jimmy Anderson give this interview. Highlights will be on the BBC iPlayer from 7 o'clock this evening. Now, the next cricket on TMS commentary is the women's T20s. That's the Oval tomorrow night, and then back at Lord's on Wednesday. And that match you can also watch on BBC Two. Then the second test in this series starts on Thursday at Trent Bridge with commentary from 10:25. But it'll be a match that takes place without James Anderson, who today brought a close to his 21-year England Test career.
Is it James or Jimmy? I'm not too bothered. It's just my mum that she wants me to be called James.
He comes again and bowls. Bowls him! James Anderson has got his first wicket. At the moment, James Anderson, if he gets 400 Test wickets, will never forget.
Up he comes again. Red streak in his hair. He bowls and he's bowled Gibbs. That one came cutting back. James Anderson has a smile on his face.
Anderson, I think, is a huge find for England. He's got some really good pace.
He's got very good ability. I'm sure if he continues to develop as a bowler, he's going to be an outstanding bowler for England.
In comes Anderson, and it bowls him. Leg stump, he bowled him round his legs.
In comes Anderson to bowl, pitching up, and he drives again, and he's nicked it, he's out.
edges, he's caught that first slip by Cook. Anderson's done it again.
He's going to waltz past my record. He is a master at what he does, and I admire and love watching him bowl.
Anderson bowls round its edge, and he's caught by Cook. And there you have it, finally. He is England's highest ever wicket taker in Test cricket.
Got to edge and caught, and James Anderson has his 400th Test wicket. And the West Stand and all around rises to England's most successful Test bowler ever.
I think Anderson, with the Duke ball in hand, I would see him getting at least up to 500, if not to 600 if he can stay fit.
Anderson bowls to Brathwaite. Bowling! That's number 500 for Jimmy Anderson.
Anderson bowls to Shami. And Shami's ball! There it is! He's done it! He's knocked out his middle stump. Anderson is a record breaker.
I feel very lucky and blessed that I've been born in the same sort of era as Jimmy, and with different style of bowlers, but complement each other really nicely.
Edged it, he's caught at slip, and Jimmy Anderson becomes the first fast bowler in the history of the game to take 600 wickets.
Just an incredible athlete, an incredible bowler, and yeah, I think the best cricketer England has ever produced.
Formalities are over. England's players pick up their caps. Jimmy Anderson has a spring in the air. There are a couple of jumps loosening up, and he can actually now get down to the business really that he just focuses on, which is getting on and bowling, and the emotion can be set aside. Here's the first ball then. Anderson's on his way, moves in, bowls. Brathwaite gets a good length ball on the off stump, which he prods into the offside for a single. So he's off the mark first ball, but it was in the slot.
Anderson again, and they go up this time, and it's given. The final wicket goes to James Anderson.
He ran like Ollie Watkins yesterday, didn't he, running off when he scored? Anyway, what
It's Jimmy. Let's listen to this. What a reception. West Indians applauding. Some handshakes there as well as he walks out to bat. There have been many fine batsmen walk out here at Lord's who have not received an ovation like that. But for Jimmy Anderson, and I'm looking at his dad now, standing there and joining the applause too, who's with us at lunchtime. He's got a standing ovation from 30,000 people. It's not in anticipation of his batting, I dare venture to say. Just a thank you and a well done for all the service that you've given. Right.
This is it.
Jimmy Anderson, what have you got for us?
The last time we'll ever see him open the bowling for England.
There we go. From the pavilion end, the crowd urging him on. Here comes Anderson, who bowls to Brathwaite, who plays and misses outside the off stump. Oh, if he gets a wicket, I think it's just going to erupt.
As Anderson from the pavilion end bowls to Brathwaite, delivery that bowls him, and there he is. Success for Jimmy Anderson, his final innings in Test match cricket, and in the same way that he did when he got Craig Brathwaite for his 500th Test wicket some 7 years ago at this same venue. He gets the West Indies captain this time around.
Anderson from the pavilion end, sweatbands on each wrist. Around the wicket he goes, and a play and a miss, or it's an edge! Anderson is celebrating, and he's got Athanase. High fives again for Jimmy Anderson, hugged by his teammates in his final Test match, wicket number 703 in his illustrious career.
The guard of honour is formed, he's taken his cap off, he's running his hand through his hair, and listen to the crowd as Jimmy Anderson walks out for what will almost certainly be the last time for England. So you can't help but feel emotional.
And you can see he's emotional.
He is.
He's emotional. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of hours in the gym, eating the right stuff for that longevity.
He's really trying hard.
Yeah.
You can see him there. He's really trying hard to keep this together. The crowd is still on their feet.
The old bottom lip might be going a bit there.
Absolutely. You can see him on the screen.
Yeah.
No, he's
sinking in.
He is shedding a tear.
It's sinking in.
Yeah, you can see him there, and he's, oh dear.
Oh. Well, it's a tear of joy, I think, you know, and a tear of appreciation for what you've achieved, which is huge.
In goes Anderson, bowls. Oh, it's a beautiful ball, and he's caught behind. It's a third wicket for Jimmy Anderson. Can he get to 5? He's had De Silva caught behind with a beautiful ball, and the number of times we've seen Jimmy Anderson pull that off. It swung away, it opened De Silva up. He tried to flick it away towards the leg side, a little feathered edge, and Smith was there to take the catch behind the stumps. And he comes now, he's there and he bowls, and that's hit hard into the leg side. A fielder's out there. That takes the catch. Gus Atkinson finishes it with his second 5-wicket haul in the game. Ben Duckett took the catch out there at deep square leg. Just had to be a little bit mindful of the boundary. And it's all over. And England have won by an innings and 114 runs.
Yeah, that's been a tremendous display by the England side. It's been an emotional week. Jimmy will just walk towards the pavilion for one last time in an England jersey. We've seen so many great receptions for him all week, and he's going to get one huge one now.
BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra.
It's a left-footed penalty. Here he comes. And she goes into a different gear. And suddenly the Chinese are mounting a late challenge, but they're not going to make it.
As a 23-time Grand Slam singles champion.
Sends it forward. In it goes.
Bringing you more live commentary from the world's greatest sporting events.
Oh, what skill.
Crosses the line. The checkered flag awaits him.
Oh, yes, yes.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra.
More live sport, pure live sport.
Listen on BBC Sounds.